in the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you. In the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you.
Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to the live stream discussion. The last live stream discussion for Volume 5. Wow, the chat is blowing up right now. What's up, Shane?
I feel like our favorite drunkle was kind of left out of these last few chapters.
Oscar, I mean, Crow's getting thrown around this entire volume.
But
how is everybody? Thank you guys all for joining.
Incredible episode.
Give me 1 second. I gotta pull something up on my screen here. For those of you guys who are chanting slow chat, I usually put slow chat when we start the discussion, so
calm down.
I'm gonna give it a few minutes to let people join and say hi.
It's bittersweet that we're gathered here tonight.
Yeah.
We had so many good times discussing this hell of a volume, and now we're reaching its end.
Yeah.
One final discussion. Arnold, you made my RWBY experience so much greater. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the support. I appreciate it very, very much.
Calm down.
Holy shit, magic touch.
Let's start the final discussion for the volume with a bang. Can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Wow, thank you very much for the generous $50. Magic touch. Appreciate it. Yeah, so welcome everybody. How's everyone doing tonight? This is the last discussion for the Volume 5 proper.
The new shipping name White times Ilya equals
White
camouflage.
That's kind of clever. Yeah. But yeah, today's the last discussion for Volume 5 proper, and I say that because I will be doing a Volume 5 discussion when the soundtrack comes out, just like I did for Volume 4.
We're not here for your money.
But for now...
Gotta say the team hug at the end was well-deserved and teared me up. The best moments in the CP was the illusion and the awesome from Shadows.
Oh my god, it was so sick, that illusion.
Will you be talking about the song?
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, the after credits scene was a bit disappointing.
Yeah, the like I said, we'll be getting into all of it in order. But yeah, I kind of... So first off, I'm trying to catch up with the chat right now, so I thank you guys very much for the donations and the on-screen shout-outs. Excuse me. Oh, where's my water? I need water this discussion. Oh, it's in the freezer, actually. I put it in the freezer for a little bit. Give me 1 second. I will be right back. All right, I'm back. Yeah, I literally need water to get me through this discussion, just because I'm going to be talking a lot, so yeah. I put my water in the freezer just so it's, like, ice cold. Alrighty. My answer is, where's Neo? Oh! Speaking of Neo, I don't know if he's in here yet, or if he's going to show up tonight. Just because he comes and goes as he, in the discussion. He's not in all of them, but a friend of mine made a $25 bet.
Calm down.
That, not magic touch.
Can't accept my own mistake. Sorry, chat. With a yang. Less than 3.
Oh, wow, the chat got on you for your missed opportunity. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. You're super generous for that donation as well. But yeah, so a friend of mine, me and my friend Josh had a bet. Well, he initiated the bet that he was very, very, very adamant that Neo would make a presence in the that Neo would make a presence in the after credit scene. And I was watching it, and leading up to the ending, I was like, please don't let Neo be in the after credit scene. Not because I wanted to lose the bet, because I knew if it was right, he would never, ever, ever shut up about it. Like, I would never hear the end of it. And it was Tai Yang, and I was like, all right, I'm fine. I'm happy with that. and then I told him, I was like, okay, I win the bet before you start claiming that was actually Neo disguised as Tai Yang, because he didn't speak, he didn't say anything. So that was kind of funny. But yeah, Neo still nowhere to be seen 2 volumes later after Volume 3. But yeah, overall, I just kind of want to reflect a little bit on Volume 5 as a whole, right? Like, it started out really great. There were a lot of bumps in the road, primarily when it came to pacing and when it came to kind of... I think the biggest issue with me for Volume 5 was the fact that there was a lot of repetitive information, right? Like, we were set up for Raven and Yang to learn about, like, the truth behind Ozpin and all that stuff, and we basically got information on Salem that we, the audience, already knew. Blake reiterating to Sun about, like, Ilya's backstory and whatnot. There were a lot of bumps this volume. I don't know where I would rank it, because I think I'm going to go back, rewatch Volume 5, and then kind of have my overall impressions of... Maybe it's a better experience if you binge it versus week to week.
Calm down. We're not here for your money.
Let's see, no hype left.
If it wasn't for Last Jedi, I would say this was the biggest hype killer in media I actively watch. However, this could be a good thing for Volume 6. Anyway... I like your discussions.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So here's some cash to help you get the Bumblebee DLC.
Oh my god. I'm going to be talking about that Blaze Blue DLC debacle after probably next week, just because RWBY Volume 5 is done. All of my major work for Volume 5 is officially finished. being the reactions. I have to edit my reaction tomorrow, and then it's done. This is the last discussion for Volume 5. I can take a little break in the next couple of weeks because then I'm going to be re-upping back in March for Red versus Blue. I need to actually like hang out with my friends and see my family now that Volume 5 is done. I've literally been a hermit. I've been in my house for the past 3 months since RWBY's been out for the most part. So it'll be kind of good to kind of, take a little bit of a break. I'm not going to jump right into RWBY Chibi Season 3, just because I also have to finish up the last 4 episodes of Chibi that I haven't watched either. And Chibi Season 3 starts in 2 days, and then next weekend are reactions that go up. So I'm going to be a little behind when it comes to Chibi, just because I want to kind of relax and take a little break. So I'll still be doing Chibi videos. I'm just taking a little break before I jump back into them, just because... I mean, I have a bunch of other things too. Unboxings. I want to do a Q&A series. I want to do my year in review for 2017. Like I said, Red vs. Blue, streaming on Twitch. So now that RWBY is done, it frees up so much time for me to focus on other things on a week-to-week basis. So yeah. But yeah, ultimately, yeah, like I said, this is the finale discussion. And I just want to say thank you guys all, especially for tuning in for the last 15 weeks or so for these discussions.
I find it a bit funny that in this episode Blake didn't fall into the typical trope of characters following enemies when it's completely obvious it's a trap.
Well, I mean, yeah,
anyway,
I feel like she's been duped enough times at this point.
I'll watch the rest of this stream after my concert tonight.
Have a good time. Have fun. Yeah, I saw you tweet about, you weren't going to be able to join because you had a concert, but have fun at the concert. This will be uploaded after the fact, as it always is. So it'll be here for you when you get back. Let's see. D. Hutcherson. Hey, Murder. Awesome stream as always. I just wanted to know what you think of Ty and Raven at the end of the episode. I guess I'll mention it now just because you asked. I think Raven just used Ty as a teleport, like as a portal to get out of there. Just like how she did with Crow. Like she used Crow as a portal to get to Mistral, not to talk to him, but to get to Haven. And the way that the end credit scene like worked, it seemed like she literally just flew by there, right? And Ty looked up and he was like, she's just using me to get back home or whatever. So I don't know. I feel like, and she was just flying and you just see the bird feather, like, okay, her presence is there, but I don't think she's sticking around necessarily. Yeah, Ty wasn't amused at all. Like, her feather goes down and he's like, you just ruined my lawn. Because she has like the feather on it now.
Glad we finally made it, Arnold.
Yes, absolutely.
I really enjoyed all your great reactions and dang shit posts this volume.
I got 3 more RWBY posts, 3 more RWBY short posts that I'm going to be posting in the next week or so. I do have one major project that I'm working on. I've already started it. I wanted it to be done by the weekend, but I don't know if it's going to be. Give me 1 second. I have to fix my camera settings because it keeps going in and out of focus. So give me 1 second on that. I will catch up with the rest of the comments, and then we can start our discussion. Okay, all right, go here. Focus, apply, okay, all right. Let's see. I'm so glad to be here and hear your discussions on the finale. Kyle Parker, thank you very much for the super chat. Appreciate it. Glad to have you here as well. Final discussion. Let's go out with a bang. On the subject of Arc System, will you be getting Dragon Ball FighterZ? No, I don't have any interest in Dragon Ball FighterZ. I'm not a big fighter. I'm not a big fighting game fan. Holy shit,
Arnold,
Pigeon Power, welcome.
I'm going to miss these discussions. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you guys
for tuning in every week. Reacting to events happening is okay. I never really emoted myself to you. Thank you, and let's chat.
Thank you very, very much. Yeah, I think these last year was when I started these live stream discussions, right? I started doing these live stream discussions with Volume 4 as early as the RWBY Volume 4 character short. And last year, this year was way more refined because I actually knew my way around OBS. The format was a lot better. Because I had experimented and experienced doing these live discussions last year for the first time, I feel like they were a lot more, not professional, but I was able to articulate a lot better. Like, I was able to just get my thoughts across a lot better just because I talked, and you can only get better with speaking, public speaking, or speaking in general the more you do it. And also, if this live stream discussion surpasses 3 hours, that will make my the entirety of my Volume 5 discussions, right, the Blake character short, the Weiss character short, the Yang character short, and then chapters 1 to 14, I will have talked about RWBY Volume 5 for 48 hours, like 48 plus hours. Anything after 3 hours for this stream is going to be 48 hours of live stream discussions. So basically 2 whole days of talking about RWBY. That's basically the time frame of how long it's been. So that's too much. That's not
here for your money.
That's not enough.
We need a clip with Illusion Salem and Nostalgia Critics Zul Mathafuka. Zul.
I know about Nostalgia Critic. I don't really watch his videos though. But yeah, 48 hours of discussions, and then, you know, I have my reaction videos that I did. I did my TLDR videos, which I feel like those were really great content, but there wasn't enough time in a week for me to do reactions, live discussions, prepping for live discussions, doing the live discussions, and then writing a script, editing that script, like editing the video and everything within a week, and have personal time to myself as well. So the TLDR reviews, I want to find a way of being able to make them work next year for Volume 6, because I really, really, really like the TLDRs, and I only have 5 of them that I actually went through with doing. So I really, really, really want those to be a part of the channel moving forward. So, but yeah, ultimately, like I said, this is the last discussion. This felt like a proper conclusion finale, right? Like volumes 1, 2, 3, and 4 have always been like, we're not out of the woods just yet. There's more to tell. There's more to do. And this chapter, I liked this chapter, and I noticed a lot of people initially, like upon the chapter immediately coming out, a lot of people were talking about how they felt like this chapter was very underwhelming. And I feel like that's because we've been so conditioned to expect big and better every volume, right? Like, a lot of people were literally saying that this chapter was short. This chapter was 24 and a half minutes. I mean, granted, you can say that the credits don't count and the intro doesn't count, but even still, like, 24 minutes of runtime, people were saying that it was short just because it wasn't as long as Volume 3's, which was 3 minutes longer runtime, which I found that to be ridiculous because, I mean, ever since Volume 2, we've had the standard of at least 12-minute chapters, and Volume 1, if you were here from the beginning of this series, like where it was pre-binge Volume 1, then you understood the struggle of, like, waiting a week for a 3-minute episode. So I enjoyed it in the sense that it was something completely different. It felt like a conclusion. The heroes were actually the ones winning, and it was the antagonists that were on the run. It was the antagonists that were crying, and it was them that were basically in the predicament that our main characters and, you know, all of these characters that we love and cherish, basically they were getting the treatment of like Volume 3. Right? Their character of Cinder died, their plans failed, and they're on the run. So I really liked how it felt conclusive and kind of like a reset period for us to kind of apply how they're going to work their way to Atlas with Volume 6, or that being the focus of the future volumes. And I also liked how we got the epic, awesome, over-the-top action the previous chapter, so I was already satisfied. I wasn't expecting something bigger than the Maiden versus Maiden fight. So either way, I was satisfied. And then again, like I said, I can't speak for everyone in that respect, but those are the reasons why I felt that those were the reasons why I liked the episode. Excuse me. Chelsea Lanzaga, I think that's how you say that. Thank you for having this channel. My best friend doesn't have time to watch with. Oh, okay. Well, I'm here. Hopefully your friend will be able to watch down the road, but thank you guys very much for the support. Thank you guys for joining for the final live stream discussion of Volume 5. As always, your support is incredibly grateful, and like, I do feel like it's a bittersweet moment every time when RWBY ends. It's never something that I'll ever get used to, with saying bye to the show, the audience, the people that, you know, tune in every week and support, you know, the content that I make regarding RWBY. But Volume 6 is already confirmed for this year, so it's not a goodbye, it's more of like, I'll see you later, you know what I mean? And then there's RTX, where we're going to get more RWBY information with Volume 6, and then promotion, and before you know it, Volume 6 is going to be right around the corner. And then we have the soundtrack, too, which once the soundtrack comes out, I'm going to be coming back with live stream discussions and my initial thoughts and impressions of those songs as well. So, and yes, if you guys are joining right now, you did not miss anything. We're 20 minutes in, so I'm actually not going to waste any more time. I will, though, be putting on slow chat now. So if this is your first time here, welcome. Better late than never, I would say, for the finale discussion. But great to have you guys here. I'm going to be putting on slow chat, and what that does is it allows for someone to comment every 45 seconds, because we do have about 1,000 people, well, 950 people in here right now. So it gives me a way of being able to see everyone type in the chat at a relatively steady pace, so no one's overlooked or anything like that. We have a smaller...
Calm down. We're not here for your money.
I'm about to cry.
Don't cry, Jay.
I miss this so much.
J-Rock, don't cry, dude. It is bittersweet, and I mentioned that I got emotional during the finale as well. Not because it was ending, but just because I think the reunion was what really kicked up the emotions for me. Was the RWBY reunion, and I don't know. Like I said, this felt very conclusive, and I'm obviously gonna miss this as well, right? We've been doing this for 14 weeks consistently. Actually, there was 1 week that I had to double down because I was sick. But other than that, we've been here week in and week out, and
We're not here
I'm
for your
really,
money.
really, really gonna miss it as well.
Something that had me wondering, do you think Raven turned away from a chance to help Summer to protect herself and that eats at her conscience? Also, say hi to my sis Laura. She's probably watching since she loves your videos so much. Keep it
Hello,
up.
Laura. Hopefully she's watching too, so yeah. Also say hi to my sister Laura. She's probably watching since she loves your videos so much. Keep it up. Thank you very much, Delta Raven and Laura, if you're watching. How are you? Thank you guys very much for the support. Thank you for the $5 donation as well. Did Raven turn from a chance to help Summer and it eats away at her conscience? I mean, that could be possible, right? I mean, I don't know. I feel like Summer's death was a major factor in the whole dynamic of the team, not just something like... Because other theories are that maybe Crow's bad luck got her killed, or maybe Ozpin, set her up for a fight that she couldn't win, or, there's a number of dynamics, there's a number of variables. Miles and Carrie kind of, they basically confirmed without explicitly saying it, but on RWBY Rewind, someone asked, are we going to learn more about Summer Rose? And they basically said, in time. They can't get to all of the nitty-gritty juicy stuff that people want to know about now. It's something that ultimately will take time, but yeah, of course, Summer Rose is an integral part of RWBY's development, especially, and the past, especially when it comes to Ozpin and Team Stark and stuff like that. So yeah, I do feel like we're gonna get more of Summer Rose in the future. But yeah, so once again, thank you guys very much for the support. We're going to be getting... Oh, really quick. So, because I already have this... I have this lined up in my... I have this lined up in my images for the discussion, but I kind of want to give you guys a glimpse at the project that I'm working on right now. I haven't done a project like this since 2016, and it was the first one that I ever did. I do have works of the other volumes that are just massive, but obviously for the sake of relevance, I'm going to work on this one now. But I am currently working, so this is a screenshot of the progress that I've made so far. This is 5 minutes into the progress, so 5 minutes of watch time into my RWBY Volume 5 Easter egg reference trivia video. And this 5 minutes of runtime, this took me 5 hours to do. And I've only done the character shorts and then chapter 1 through 3. So I really want this to be up and done by Monday. I'm not entirely sure if I'll get there. I mean, I have the time. If I just work nonstop over the weekend, I can have it done. And but yeah, this is the work that I have so far. This is the big project that I'm working on right now. For the next big RWBY video. And there's a lot of references. I caught, I think, about 80 references in Volume 5, at least 80. So this is the work that I have done so far. And I have a lot more work to do. It's probably going to be about maybe a 15-20 minute reference video. And yeah, editing is a bitch. This, like I said, there's 5 minutes of runtime so far, and this took me 5.5 hours to do. So, and I was working on this from midnight to about 5 a.m. the other day. So, I just wanted to kind of give you guys that little bit of insight, a little bit of, I don't know, like a teaser for something that you guys can look forward to, especially if you guys don't know about a lot of the references and Easter eggs and things like that within Volume 5. Some of them actually even shocked me when I discovered them, so editing is so time intensive, it sucks sometimes. Yeah, it does, and then on top of that, like, I can't listen to music or a podcast or something, because I mean, your attention needs to be on the audio to make sure the audio levels are balanced and making sure that things sound right, so you very much have to just be tunnel visioned into what you're doing. So, it's, I mean, for a lot of channels, like, editing is like the killer of channels, in the sense of, like, it's so boring. It's just like, it's like making the videos awesome and the final product is awesome. It's just the in-between is just so daunting. But I always say that, but by the time the video uploads and comes out, it's worth it. It's so worth it every time. So, and I mean, I've been doing that for 5 years, so at the end of the day, I have a love-hate relationship with editing, personally, so. But yeah, so like I said, that is something that you guys can look forward to in the future for more RWBY content from me. And like I said, that's Volume 5, because Volume 5 is what's relevant right now. I already have Volumes 2, 3, and 4 outlined and prepped, and I just need to record them and then edit those, those will take a few weeks as well. So between this Volume 5 reference video coming out and Volume 6, I should have the Volumes 2, 3, and 4 done over the spring and over the summer. So I can give you guys like a healthy dose of RWBY stuff even after RWBY's done. So yeah, I just wanted to leave you guys with that. Get hyped, get excited for that. I'm like, the 5 minutes that I have, it's so good. It's so good. I'm so proud of it so far. But anyways, cameras moved. Thankfully, I did that first this time around. And we will get into the discussion. So the first thing that we have, okay. Hey, J-Rock.
For your money.
I'm hyped for that Easter egg V.
It's so good.
Sounds like it's going to be a candy dandy treat. However, don't die to the buttload of work you got coming for your fans.
Yeah, I know.
We love yo shiz, and we can wait for your shiz. Alright, let's discuss.
It's so funny to hear Justin talk, like, read off the text that other people say, just because he sounds like a kid, so it sounds super weird to me. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not going to be working myself, like, after my reaction for the finale goes up, I'm not going to do anything for like a week. Like, I'm going to be just a bum for an entire week. I'm just going to play video games and not do anything productive because my mind has been on since Volume 5 has started. So I kind of want to turn my brain off. I don't want to have any obligations, and I just want to relax, hang out with my friends, play video games, not have to worry about putting out anything on the channel or streaming. And then once I have all of that out of me, then I just get right back into it. Because I definitely need a break. And then, like, they're jumping right into it with everything else.
For your money.
But anyways, let's start the discussion, shall we?
Adam's attempt at an invasion ended in catastrophe. Even though he wasn't kidding around, he crossed a line. No wonder he has nobody left. However, seeing Blake actually fight back freaked me out a little bit.
Oh my god, freaked me out. That one's pretty clever, I'll give you that. So yes, now it's time to say goodbye to the things we love. Guys, it's not the end of the... Like, they already confirmed Volume 6. I know that it's bittersweet, but... I don't know. I guess I'm a little bit more accepting that, you know, the volume is done and a lot of these things are going to be put to rest for now. But it's going to be just as great and just as exciting to come back to all of this again with Volume 6, especially since we're getting a lot of things in between now and Volume 6. They're announcing a new villain for Volume 6 in the Combat Ready board game. The Combat Ready board game is going to be out too, so that's another thing. We have a lot of the conventions that they're going to be announcing RWBY stuff at, which is great. The RWBY mangas are going to be coming out, like one's already out, and the RWBY Red Like Roses anthology comes out soon. Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle is going to be out. There's going to be RWBY stuff for that. We got RWBY Chibi and a bunch of other things, so I know that it's really sad, especially if this is like a routine thing that you guys look forward to every week. Like, you look forward to my reactions as well as these discussions on a week-to-week basis. And I understand that break from routine and that break from, like, things that you enjoy. But I think it's just as great for things to kind of give yourself some distance. Like, personally, I love RWBY, but as a YouTuber, as a content creator, I'm so glad that it's done, because I've just, like I said, I've been on the entire time. So for me personally, I'm glad it's finishing for the sake of just me having a break. But at the same time, as a viewer, as a RWBY fan, of course I'm going to miss it. But at the same time, I just know that there's just bigger and better things to look forward to with Volume 6. So, but anyways, the discussion, I guess we can start the chapter. So initially everything started above ground, and right out the gate, it already seemed like from last chapter that I was already thinking, I'm like, what's Adam gonna do, right? Like, he basically got punked by Blake, which is so ridiculous to me. I'm glad that they let him get away and he didn't get arrested, because if that was it for Adam, like, you got punked by Blake, you're no longer a badass, you're a child with a temper tantrum, and you're going away to prison, I would have been very upset, because it just seems like there's so much more to Adam than just his insane ideologies and his sporadic outbursts. So, you know what I mean? Especially since in a lot of people's mind, we have the Volume 3 Adam and the Black trailer Adam in our minds of what he's like as a person, as a fighter especially, and to just get punked like that, and it almost seemed out of place. So I'm really happy that they did that with Adam. But the rest of these White Fang dudes, I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, why would you even attempt? Like, there's like 8 of you White Fang dudes, and there's probably like 50 like menagerie dudes to every one White Fang member. And I like this part here. I clipped this part because Ilya just takes this dude down. Like, she's like, I'm not dealing with your shit. He like tries to shoot at them. The other two are smart. They're just like, all right, we know when we're beat. I'm not trying to get wrecked by these guys with freaking shields and batons and whips. And this middle dude's just like, I don't know what he was thinking, but he basically got MMA'd into like non-existence by Ilya. Which I thought that was pretty cool too, just because it kind of shows that she's actually a pretty good, like, I don't know if that necessarily means she's a good fighter, but she can kind of subdue somebody without the need of her weapon, which I think is pretty neat. Best Faunus Ilya. Yeah. Yeah, non-lethal takedowns, basically. Yeah, non-lethal takedowns, which is great. And so I just decided to screen cap that moment just because I thought that was a pretty badass moment, especially for Ilya. And I don't know about any of you guys, but since this chapter came out, everybody and their mother has been shipping these two. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, Ilya, oh my gosh, you saved me. You've stolen my heart. And Ilya's like, why do I care about Blake when I have a rabbit Faunus? And you know what they say about rabbits, so I'm going to leave it at that. So basically, yeah, a lot of people in the fandom are like, OTP right here for Ilya, because everyone wants it to be either Black Sun or Bumblebee, and they don't want Ilya to be left out. So I found that to be really, really funny. And the rabbit kind of looks like she's blushing in a way. I don't know if that's just her natural complexion, because she looks pale already. But she's got like rosy, like pink cheeks. And I don't know if that's because she's blushing because Ilya just saved her or whatever. But yeah. Anika was like, oh my god, I love you, random citizen. Yeah. Yeah, so essentially, I mean, the fandom is predictable, right? They ship anybody with everybody. So if there's any subtle hints of character, I don't know, interaction, they're like, we're going with it. Even people who've never even spoken to each other in the show. But I'm not mad. I mean, if that's what Ilya, you know, if that's the spark that starts if that's a spark that starts a relationship, go for it. You know, and your Faunus, go for it. But yeah, I just thought it was funny because, I mean, that's all it takes for the fandom to just hop on a ship, and I find that to be really entertaining. So I just decided to initially mention that. Let's see. Theory time. Salem dies. Ozpin will leave too and leave Oscar to a normal life. Huh. I mean, I feel like the initial like mindset is like, okay, if Ozpin kills Salem, then Ozpin will no longer reincarnate and he'll be able to actually like go in peace. I just don't know what the implications are for Oscar, right? I mean, Oscar could very much die along with him because it's like it's a fate and it's something that he has to make sacrifices and he has to go through hardship and struggle. And you know, for Oscar to be caught in the crossfires, it doesn't seem necessarily out of place, especially if Ozpin, what a lot of people are theorizing, and I agree to an extent, if Ozpin eventually just takes over his body, like just Hostile takes him over, or like Oscar and Ozpin's minds meld together, but Ozpin is at the helm, right? And Oscar just fades away. Because it's, I mean, Eruption Fangs mentioned it too, and I'm kind of applying it a little bit more in the sense that the Ozpin that we knew, like Volume 1 through 3 Ozpin, never had any instances where there was any indication that there was someone else in his head, or that there was another personality speaking in place of the Ozpin that we know of. So it leads us to believe that there could be moments, or that, you know, at some point Ozpin just completely took over, right? Because it's the red flag that we got too is that Ozpin took over Oscar, even though Oscar said no. Granted, it could have been a life or death situation. You can't tell these kids they have a choice and then make the choice for them. So I don't know. I personally feel like it's either or. You know, either Ozpin will completely take over or Oscar will share the same fate as Ozpin by the end. Because whatever happens to Oscar is synonymous with whatever happens to Ozpin will in turn happen to Oscar. You can't detach one from the other, at least not anymore. Or at least not right now. Let's see. Hey, Murder. Calling back to my brother, Delta Raven. He's the best, and so are you. I love watching your reactions every single week. Keep moving forward. Alpha Crow and Delta Raven. I get that. That's cute. That's awesome. Thank you guys both very much. Sibling birds over here for your support. I appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, we can only tell. I mean, time will only tell what happens to Oscar at the end. So I really liked this moment as well. And
calm down.
Oh,
we're not here for
hey,
your
what's
money.
up, Kip? Thank you for the donation.
Talk about Oscar dying. The end of this episode really startled me. Oscar just knocked.
Yeah, he was like really
and I don't
weathered.
know if he's okay or not, but I assumed I'm overreacting. BC, nobody else is talking about it much. Really scared for Oscar.
Well, basically,
frown.
I mean, the reason why he was like that was because Ozpin took over his body and was getting thrashed and thrown about. So basically, Ozpin had to fall asleep because he had to rest up because he used up too much energy, and all of the damage and all of the battered and bruised, everything that happened to Ozpin is basically being shifted to Oscar.
Also, I wondered if Ozpin ever thought the team RWBY was just more cannon fodder, or if he truly believes in them.
I feel like he believes more in Team RWBY, and I feel like he feels like everyone else around them is cannon fodder. You know what I mean? Otherwise, at this point, Team Juniper is lumped in with them. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of, I mean, they are the Team Stark of their generation, right? So he believed in Team Stark. He told Team Stark about the Maidens, about the Relics, about Salem, and entrusted their team. Not necessarily because he felt like anybody else was fodder, but because that team was the best of the best. So in a way, it's not necessarily that he doesn't care about any other teams. It's just that he knows if he decides, hey, Team Cardinal, I'm going to tell you about the Relics. I'm going to tell you about the Maidens. I'm going to tell you about this creature of Grimm that controls all the other creatures of Grimm, the Queen of Grimm, Salem. They're going to get bodied. So rather than get them involved, he's not even going to bother. So, let's see. I wanted a rationale for how Ozpin trusted Leo. Giving us no viewpoint, but the lion's cowardice just made Ozpin looked negligent on evaluating him. Well, Ozpin mentioned too, he was like, Leo, what happened to you? Which means, like, at a certain point, Ozpin and Leo were not in contact for a long period of time, which allowed Salem's influence to seep in and corrupt Leo to the point where it shifted his entire personality. It shifted his entire mindset of protecting the world and fighting against Salem, to where she basically made him succumb to the thought of like, no one can beat me, and if you try, you're going to die. So it's just a matter of him giving into that coward nature. And I mean, he is based off the Cowardly Lion. It's just unfortunate too, because he wasn't a villain. He wasn't a bad, quote unquote, bad guy, but he was in it for his own.
Calm down.
He was in it for his own. Holy shit. He was in it for his own safety.
Thanks for
oh my gosh.
Great
Thank you.
And all the hard work you do.
Thank you very much. Oh my god.
For the next one. Also, that mother and daughter talk in the vault to me in tears.
Yeah, the mother-daughter. How do you pronounce that? Let's see. Boryusha? Boryuka? Ray? I'm gonna call you Ray. I'm just gonna call you Ray. I don't want to mess up your name or anything like that. Thank you so much for that donation. I really do appreciate that, and I'm glad that you enjoy the videos and everything. It is a lot of hard work, but it's a... Here's the big thing that I never want people to assume or to take into wrong context. Whenever I mention the amount of hours or the amount of work that I put into videos, like streams like these that take hours to prepare, and you know, I talk for hours on end on top of that, or the reactions that, you know, I do on a week-to-week basis, or like the reference video, it's a labor of love. Like, I put the amount of hours and effort and energy into this because I put in what I get out of this show. Like, I love this show to the moon and back, right? This show is like a huge part of it's been a huge part of my life for the past 5 years now. And I plan on seeing it through to the end with everybody else. So the work that I put in is just a reflection of how much I feel about the show. It's never like, oh man, I have to do this for like 10, like, no, like I said, it's a labor of love. So if anything, it's not even work. It's like I'm working on something that I love to do. So it's not work. It's literally just, I'm working on something that I like to do at the end of the day. So if that makes any sense. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a hobby, but at the same time, there's a distinction between a hobby and a career, or a hobby and a job, or, I mean, there's a middle ground too, because it's all online and whatnot.
Damn it, Blake. You have only one job. Don't let the psycho
Don't let the psycho escape. All right, so back to the discussion. Yeah, because I got to talk about this. I was really happy. I was actually, I was kind of shocked, but at the same time, I was also proud of Blake, because it seems like a lot of this time that she's been spent alone, and Sun too, like, Sun was a blessing this volume. Like, I absolutely loved Sun this volume.
Here for your money.
Why do you think that Raven thinks that Salem can't be defeated? What's your thoughts on why
Hold off on any comments right now, just because I want to kind of get my overall thoughts out about Adam and Blake. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I will turn off... I'll still have them on screen, but as usual, I will just turn off the audio so I don't get caught off with my thoughts. But no, I was really happy with Blake, because Adam was... Like, when you look at her demeanor this chapter in particular... I really don't even want to apply how she was feeling, what she was doing last chapter, because it just felt so out of place, especially with how she retaliated to Adam. But this chapter, she had a lot of confidence in her voice. She had a lot of, like, a little bit of sass in her body language too, when she's like, excuse me, you think you're that important that I traveled all the way from Menagerie for you? No, I'm here for everybody else but you. And it kind of almost felt like there was like this weight that was lifted off her shoulders, and Adam was all of the anxiety, and Adam was everything that made Blake a very reclusive and a very, like, almost like a shut-in, right? She was antisocial, she was moody, she always kept to herself, and I feel like Adam was like an effect of that. And Sun was basically the restraint. Sun was the one that kind of allowed her to open up a lot more, to trust other people, to allow other people to help her when she needs it instead of pushing them away. And that's why I feel like I feel like Sun was a blessing last volume, but especially this volume, with a lot of the things that he kind of pulled through for Blake. And, you know, I feel like her entire demeanor has just changed completely because of that. Sun is literally best boy. I agree with her when she said, like, he's earnest. Like, he does things out of the kindness of his heart, and he means well no matter what. And I just loved that. I loved the fact that it was a combined effort for why Blake was able to. She like and it was just like it was almost like she was a completely different person, right? She was like, you can make me feel bad about being here or regret being here, but honestly, I have more important things to worry about. Like, my world does not revolve around you anymore, right? Out of fear or out of passion or out of the fact that I may have felt a certain way about you or whatever. And the fact that she's just the one thing that I feel like trolls or people that don't like you, or God forbid I say it, haters, like, the one thing that I feel like is like psychologically ingrained is that if you don't give them attention, that's like the worst feeling for them, because it feels like almost like they're invalidated, right? And I hate to use that comparison too, but I feel like that's why Adam just goes off, because he's very, I don't know, like he it's almost like he's just on a bender right now. Like, it's just like at any point he's just very unstable. And the fact that she says, like, he's very arrogant about the fact that he feels like he knows her. He's like, I know you're still afraid. I'm going to make you regret ever coming here. Like, he feels like he knows her so well, when in reality, she's changed over the last, few months since Volume 3. And I think that was like the biggest that was like the biggest hit to his ego, was the fact of like, wow, I thought I knew this person, and she's actually telling me off. And then the even better factor was that Sun was there by her. And it's so crazy when you look at Adam and you look at Sun, because it's undeniable that these two characters have a major impact on Blake's character, one for good and one for bad, right? Like, Sun for the better, Adam for the worse. And when you look at these two characters, it's like, wow, like, it's kind of crazy how both of these characters have had such a major impact on her over the years. And you see how she was like pre and post Adam, and now you're seeing what she's like post Sun. And I don't know, it's like a polar opposite thing. Same thing with Ilya, right? Like, Ilya was a representation of what Blake was like if she had stayed in the White Fang, and Blake was that representation of her leaving the White Fang. So I feel like, again, Ilya, Sun, it's just like the fondest dynamic, right? It was Ilya, Sun, and Adam, and Blake, and that whole dynamic of the White Fang and their oppression, and how that affected Blake both in and out of the White Fang over the years. And I just loved it overall. I thought Blake's story, this volume, it was very slow, because I felt like we spent so much time in Menagerie doing things that we didn't really need to do, right? Like, I could understand her going back home, seeing her family and whatnot, but then once the whole thing broke down about going to Haven and recruiting people and spending so much time just on doing that, that's where I felt like it was starting to lose its way. Let's see, another thing with haters and other people like that is to prove them wrong and continue to prove them wrong, because at this point, they're just making things worse for themselves. Exactly. So, and that's another thing too. I think the best feeling, whether you're proving haters wrong or even people that don't believe in you or people that doubt you, is proving that you can do something, or proving, literally, like you said, proving them wrong. And that's just a great feeling for the person in general, not just the other people who are just like, oh damn, I should really like keep my mouth shut next time. So hey, what's up, Dominic? Dude, I watched your 4-hour stream of you working on the song This Time. I've been listening to it for like since it's been uploaded. I was listening to it the entire time I was putting this stream together myself. Exactly. Someone in the chat just said it. Success is the best revenge. William Shapiro. I think that's like the best way to put it. Holy shit, dude. You watched that? I wasn't watching it live. I found out you were streaming after you streamed, so I was just watching through it. But that was a really good first. If that was like your first ever stream, that was a really good first stream for you. Especially the runtime. It was 4 hours, and it was just you doing your thing. I like how you were engaging with the chat and whatnot. How many people did you have in your chat? Do you know? Yeah. I liked it. I thought it was great. So anyways, yeah, like I loved Sun this volume. I thought he was I thought he was just like a breath of fresh air, and I think it was also like really needed of him, because I feel like pre-volume 4, I felt like a lot of people gave Sun flack for being like the goofball, really, you know what I mean? Like, he was just really like a goofball and didn't take anything too seriously. And then Volume 4 and Volume 5, you saw a more serious side of Sun, and one that was of concern and care. And we got to see his gunchucks as well. Like, we saw him more in action than I think we ever have. So that was also like a really good treat to see him in his like fighting form, especially. Oh wow, you had about 100 people. That's crazy, especially for a first stream. James Delta. I feel like the way Leo died, Salem's appearance, and a few other things in this volume was a new level of maturity for RWBY. Yeah, I mean, Volume 3 was the first volume that we actually started seeing, like, death become a recurring thing. Volume 4 was, like, language, especially. Like, I mean, the biggest example is when Tyrion called RWBY a bitch. So I feel like, again, like, obviously they're not like, it's not like Red versus Blue where there's like a gratuitous cursing around, like throwing curses around for the hell of it or for the sake of, you know, the nature of the character. But I think the themes are appropriated. I think the tonal shift is appropriate as we're inching more and more and more to this grand conflict that is going to really be serious and be a problem down the line. So I agree with you, especially this volume. Like we saw, like the form in which Leo died, Vernal just straight wide-eyed dead body just chilling on the floor, and you know, like where like Raven had to go and like close her eyes. Like that's like visceral. You know what I mean? It's like it's a very real. Like this is actual people dying, you know. It's not like killing Tuxin, like where you shoot him in the face and then we're just implied to believe that he's dead and we don't see how he dies. Like you actually see characters get maimed and murdered and killed off. So I feel like, again, it's appropriate with the tonal shift and with the theme shift ever since Volume 3, and I feel like it's only going to escalate as time goes on. But yeah, the sound I would say is what really sells it for Leo's death, because you don't see it on screen, and there are some people that are like, yo, no body, no death, we didn't see him die on screen, so that means he, you know, just being cheeky about it. But no, I very much agree with that, James. Very much agree with that. So next, I got this moment here. Hopefully there's no audio. All right. So we got a brief second appearance of the gunchucks, and I lost it right here too. I was like, oh my god, we're getting gunchucks again, because like I thought that was like the selling point for Sun for Volume 5, was like you're gonna get the gunchuck fight between him and Ilya, and that was it. And then he like whips him out again, and I'm just going nuts. I'm like, holy shit. Hopefully this is like an instance of maybe, you know, Sun's gunchucks will be more prominent as the series continues. If Sun is ever in combat in the future, we can now expect more gunchuck action out of him instead of it just being in his staff form, which I don't mind it being in staff form. I just think like a lot of people have these grandiose expectations because Sun's weapons are literally the coolest thing to watch. Like, he has probably the coolest weapon in the show, if not the coolest weapon in the show. Just in how, like, he's able to, you know, just how, you know what I mean? Like, it's just gunchucks, like, nunchucks that are also shotguns, that you're shooting and swinging them around at the same, like, that's just cool to watch, especially if you pull it off in the right way. So, so yeah, like, I really liked it. I mean, it was a little skirmish, right? It was him, like, attacking, and then, like, you know, they're getting a few cheap shots off of Adam, and then Adam's just like, screw this, I'm gonna run off, and they're gonna chase me, and I'm gonna hide in this bush and then stab them when they run by it or whatever. So, hold on, I'm gonna read some comments really quick. Do you think we will get a real hold on, do you think we will get real information on RWBY and her silver eyes? How about her dreams involving Pyrrha? I think the dreams involving Pyrrha are just nightmares. I don't think there's anything to read into with those in particular. And that was really like a Volume 4 thing. I don't know if it's still recurring to this day, but even if it is, I feel like we can just dismiss those as her having nightmares. And regarding her silver eyes, again, same thing with Summer Rose, same thing with Salem and the moon and all of these bigger picture concepts. We are going to get information. Like, we cannot not get information on the silver eyes. It's a world building concept that they've given to us. and it's just a matter of time. Everything just comes down to time with this show, so it's just a matter of being patient and a matter of waiting and seeing how they're going to flesh it out in a grander perspective than just showing it in Volume 3 with RWBY against Cinder, and then showing it again with RWBY, you know, with Cinder going up against Jean. So, again, like I said, it's all a matter of time will tell, really. Macy T, the mother-daughter talk tore me to pieces. The words of "I'm sorry" is all I've wanted to hear from my birth mother. So this video hit me hard. Much love from Miles and RWBY and you. Thank you very much on that. I love and hate how people treat Raven or talk about Raven in the community. And I get both sides, right? I get both sides of it. I personally, I don't think looking at Raven as a parent in the conventional sense is necessarily fair, especially in the world of Remnant, when in the lifestyle that these people live and the choices that they make and what's really at stake at the end of the day, right? I don't think we have any commonality, like any common grand enemy beyond humanity, right? We are our own worst enemies to each other. It's really what we do to each other versus like anything, any external force being a threat to us. But for Raven, I've always had this notion, right? And it's a very anime thing. It's a very anime thing, and it's very it's expressed in a lot of shows, right? And one anime in particular for me is Hunter x Hunter, right? The show's concept, right, is that Gon Freaks, the main character, wants to become a professional hunter, which is like it's like a profession in the world that allows you to kind of go and, you know, see a bunch of different things, and it requires you to be a certain like certain power level. You have to be a very strong and capable individual to be a hunter, and he wants to be a hunter because his father left him when he was a kid, and he doesn't know why. He left his son to be a hunter, and his son grows up. He's like, I want to be a hunter. I want to know why my dad became a hunter, and I want to track him down. And that's the whole, that's like the A plot of the show. That's the elongated A plot from start to finish. And it's all about the journey in between. But like that dynamic, the parent leaving the kid and the kid seeking out answers, that's a very anime thing. And even Jing Freaks in the Hunter x Hunter community, a lot of people give shit to Jing. A lot of people say Jing's worst dad is the worst dad in all of anime. And then, you know, it's like once you get what you've been searching for, it just puts everything into perspective, and you don't end up hating the person. And that's how I've always felt about Raven, right? Like Raven, I'm even when I'm reacting, even when I'm watching it and I'm talking down to Raven, I'm like, why are you doing this? That's your daughter. You should be protecting her, all that other stuff. In the back of my head, I still have that mindset of like, there is a reason why she's doing this. She cares about her daughter. Like it's very clear that she cares. She's going to such grave lengths to keep Yang away from Ozpin and Crow and the relics and this whole thing that she's gone through. And I don't know, I feel like we interpret it very realistically, because there are people who go their entire lives without knowing who their birth family is, or their parents, or they were abandoned, or whatever the case might be. And even if you weren't, you can sympathize with that sentiment. So I don't know. I feel like Raven does care, right? And there's a lot of pride there, and there's a lot of bravado, and there's a lot of what am I trying to get at here? I mean, I know what I want to say, I just don't know how to say it. I think that's really just it. It's just the fact of like, she's trying to be strong in her own way, which doesn't really come off as such, because when her and Yang get into it, she kind of crumbles before her. So, but like I said, we'll get into that once we reach that. But overall, I love Sun. He was definitely a breath of fresh air this volume whenever he was on screen. Love the fact that he has such a big impact on Blake for Volume 3 and Volume 4, which I hope, I feel like that's a big thing too, because going into Volume 6, you know, they're going to Atlas now. Is Sun gonna go with her, right? Is Sun gonna go with Blake and company, you know, Team Ranger, Team Juniper and company to Atlas? Or is he going to stay behind in Mistral, finally see the rest of his team that's been there wherever the hell they've been this entire volume? Is he going to stay behind with the White Fang and try to build this new brotherhood that they were talking about? And if that's the case, then we're not going to see Sun for a really long time. So I'm wondering if that's the reason why they gave us at least Sun instead of like Neptune and everybody else, because obviously they're like, hey, we got to give him we got to, you know, line him up with Blake's story, give them development, have him help her, and that way she can then go back to her team and then send them off and then send Sun going in the opposite direction. So I personally, if Sun is not in the next volume, I'm going to miss him. I'm going to greatly miss him. Yeah, and give everyone new outfits, damn it. Like, you're only giving Team RWBY and Team Juniper outfits. Granted, he was on the boat with Blake, so he couldn't really... I mean, he had that, like, Jedi robe on, so, I mean, that's the closest thing that we got. And I also want to see every other character in the Maya engine at this point, like Team Coffee, Team Sun, Team Cardinal even, you know what I mean? So his abs will deflect the cold. Didn't realize Murder was a Black Sun shipper. I don't like labels. I don't like labels in the sense of like I have to be labeled this or not this. I like Black Sun and Bumblebee. I like all ships. I don't really have any offense with one person being shipped with another person. I really don't. The only thing that comes down to shipping that I don't like is when people get into debates and kind of get really nasty with someone having a different opinion than them. So let's see. I believe Raven didn't want Yang to follow that path for her. I know, right? Because if she wanted Yang around, she would have just been like, hey, I'm taking my baby into this, you know, into this bandit lifestyle. See you later, Ty. You know what I mean? Or maybe even Ty didn't want that. You know what I mean? Like, Ty is very much a factor in this, too. He could have looked at the situation and been like, she'd be better off with me. If you're really going to leave, I'd rather her be here with, you know, with at least me, her sister, her dog, her uncle will be around, and she'll be safe. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's 50-50. It's definitely 50-50. Let's see. The conversation between Yang and Raven was definitely one of the best scenes of the volume. Yeah, it needed to happen. That's the big thing. That a scene like that needed to happen between the two characters, and they kind of just told the other person what was on their mind, and you know, that was that. So yeah, going into this too, like I said, I think Sun was like a he was very, very, very like how do I word it? He was kind of needed for Blake in this respect, right? Like she even said it too when she was talking about trying to get through to Ilya. She was like, I'm going to get through to Ilya the same way that you got through to me. And again, it comes down to his earnest nature. It comes down to the fact that Sun, he's just there for his friends. He's like a true friend. And I'm really happy that like I said, we've gotten as much of Sun that we've gotten in the last two volumes, and I feel like that might be a red hair. That might be like a canary in the coal mine. That might be inferring that we're giving you a lot of him now because he won't be around later. Especially if once we go to Atlas, we get new characters. You know what I mean? So, let's see. I don't feel I can't. It doesn't help the feels that Tai Yang had described Raven to their daughter as some sort of anti-hero. Let's see. Yang was expecting this and not a moreless bandit. Too afraid to even admit she was afraid. I mean, there's only so much that Tai is gonna tell her, really, you know. And she even mentioned it too when they had their confrontation. Let's see. Oh yeah, Team Funky's from Atlas. But I mean, I can't even really expect that, you know what I mean? Because, you know, Team Sun was from Atlas. Team Sun was from Mistral. Team Arburn was from Mistral. We didn't see any. That's another thing. I want to talk about that. And if I go to RTX this year, and I'm at the RWBY panel, and I'm able to ask a question, I think the question I'm going to ask them is, it has some regards to pacing, right? Which is, hold on, let me take a sip of this because I'm kind of running dry. Which is, we were in and out of a kingdom in one volume, which blew my fucking mind. Blew my mind that and this was over the course of a couple months, at least 2 months, based on one of the time references that Gira mentioned, right? So it took 2 months for volume 2 months of time for volume 5, and we were in Mistral, and presumably now we're leaving Mistral now that we have the Relic and we're heading to Atlas in a volume. We didn't see anything. We didn't see anything of... I have no concept of... Personally, I feel like they didn't even go to Mistral. In my headspace, I see it as like they were in the countryside in a house for 10 episodes. For 10 episodes. Right? They got to Mistral in episode 1, and my friend Anton mentioned this too. He did an analysis video on RWBY, right? They got to Mistral in episode 1, and they sat around for 10 episodes before they left to go to to Haven Academy for the big fight in chapter 11. And that was it. They were literally in a house for the entire volume. We didn't get to see the culture of Mistral. We didn't get to see any of the shops, any of the people. We got literally nothing of this kingdom at all, and it's so disappointing because the only thing we have to go off of on the world of RWBY, right? We didn't see the airships. We didn't see. I mean, we saw the airships, but I mean, like in every day-to-day life, we didn't see the houses in the cliff sides and the canyons, like in the world of Remnants with Mistral. We didn't see anything of this kingdom. We saw a countryside. We saw a house, and that was it. And I don't know, like, I know more about Vale, and I really hope that they're not going to do the same thing when they go to Atlas, which I feel like Atlas has a lot more issues going for it, right? Like, Watts is a disgraced Atlesian scientist, so his grudge is between Atlas. So I think Atlas is going to be a lot more focal in the sense of, like, Watts's revenge and how they're going to go about plans for, attacking them and whatnot. So I think Atlas will be a lot more prominent, but it's so unfortunate that they just casted Mistral aside. They didn't show any of the characters who are from Mistral, who go to Haven Academy. Team Sun, like I said, Team Sun, Team Arborn. We didn't see. If it wasn't for them showing Crow going through the slums looking for huntsmen to fight for him, and eventually they're all dead. If it wasn't for that, I would assume no one lived in Mistral. And that was, like, the only thing that we saw. And that was in the slums. We didn't even get to see, like, the 2D sprites, right? The 2D moment in the first chapter. We didn't get to see the marketplaces. We didn't get to see... we heard in the world of Remnants, too, like, Mistral has the biggest underground market, the underground black market. And you have all of these thieves and scoundrels and mercenaries, you know what I mean? And all of these, low lives, and we didn't see any of that. And I'm just sitting here like, is this how quick it's going to be? Are we going to be in Atlas start to finish next year? And then the year after start to finish Vacuo? And then the next year we fight Salem and then the show's over? I understand they weren't happening concurrently, but the point that I'm trying to make is you have to get that point across to the viewer, even if things aren't happening. Like, Volume 1 didn't happen moment to moment. Volume 1 was literally a semester at school, which is over a couple months, right? Like, by chapter 15, RWBY was like, oh, when they went to the docks and they saw one of those stores busted into, she was like, oh, they never caught that Torchwick guy I ran into a few months back. Maybe it was him, so, like, months passed between Volume 1, but we got a sense of Vale, even in Volume 1, right? And then Volume 2, even more so. I think more than we ever have in Volume 2. And we know so much about Atlas, even its outer regions like Mountain Glen, and we just didn't get any of that this volume. And I was really surprised that we're in and out of Mistral in a volume as well. But then I can understand, you can throw in the fact of, like, well, it was during the off season of school, and it was very in and out because of the the dire state of emergency. Like, the day before school the day before school kicked back up, that all of this went down. So Atlas, I'm sorry, not Atlas, Haven is actually destroyed, so school's gonna start a little later for them, I think. So, but yeah, I feel like that was, like, the biggest hit. That was, like, the heaviest swing and the biggest miss of the volume was that they had all of this and they just didn't do anything with it. And I understand, like, and again, I understand Miles and Carrie, especially since, you know, he's under a lot of stress and directs the show. He's acknowledged this. He already knows about pacing issues. He's applying it for the future. He's applying it for Volume 6. And that's all I can ask. As long as he understands where I'm coming from and he understands that that is a problem for future volumes, especially if you're going to be going to Atlas, if you're going to be going to Vacuum, if you're going to be going to the Dragon Continent, if you're going to be going to all these places and you're just going to be there, lickety-split, and then get out, that is a problem when it comes to the world as a whole, because there's nothing being added to it. Mistral, there's nothing being added to the world of Mistral because we didn't see anything. Show, don't tell. I think that's Carrie and Miles' biggest... I think when it comes to Carrie's direction, I think that's... Or maybe even Rooster Teeth as a whole, because they've done a lot of showing, telling and not showing. And it's such a disappointment, too, because the first thing you see of Mistral is you just see it. You know, in Volume 4, when they're coming over the mountainside and, like, they're like, we made it, and you see the city in the mountain. I'm just like, this place looks so beautiful, looks so gorgeous. I can't wait to see it. And we didn't see it. And... now we're moving on. We're moving on to Atlas, which another thing, too, is like, I wonder how they're going to get there. Because if it's another Volume 4, that's not going to go well. Especially since Volume 4 didn't sit right with a lot of people. Especially because it was more of a transitional volume between getting from one continent to another. Granted, they have airships now. They have better mobility. So, better transportation, rather. So, I'm pretty sure they're going to get to Atlas just fine. Weiss is going to be pissed when she finds out, though, because she literally spent an entire volume leaving Atlas, and now she's going back to Atlas. So, I'm just like, God damn it. She should have just stayed home. At least then I wouldn't have been a broken man a few weeks ago because she looked like she was going to die. So yeah. Anyways, long story short, I loved Sun. Really happy to have him there. Moving on, you guys are going to lose me for a little bit. I guess this moment wasn't really anything like grandiose, you know, or grandular. It was just literally the affairs of what's happening upstairs with Team Ranger, Crow, Oscar, Ozpin, and the fights of everything. We got to see how strong Hazel is even more so now. With not only lightning dust but fire dust, where he one-shots Weiss's summon. So I'm wondering how how Weiss's endurance plays a factor. Not Weiss's endurance, but the summons themselves, right? Because her Borbatusk was shot once by Ironwood and was kaput. Her Knight was one shot. Granted, it got its head sliced off while it was mid-summon. Got its head sliced off, and it was done. And then this summon, too, just got one shot, and it was done. I don't know. I mean, then again, Vernal's had lasers for her attack, and Hazel is like a freaking mountain who hits like a freaking... I mean, he's walking... I don't know, he's just like a walking tank, and he hits like a mountain, basically. And he just one-shots the summon. So I'm wondering if it's a combination of maybe the attacks are super strong and they overwhelm the summon, or the summons themselves are like one shot, almost like shadow clones. Like they're there until you hit them and then they're gone. Not the bees. Exactly, Ashley, not the bees. Or not the bee, singular. But yeah, like I said, nothing here really happened. There was this one shot. Hold on, do I have it here? Yeah, there was this one shot. I'm gonna come back over here for you guys. There was this one shot that I found to be extremely funny. Oh, so Blake shows up right here too, which was funny, which was great because this was like her first interaction with her team since the fall of Beacon, and the first thing Weiss says is, I remember you being more of the quiet one, when it's like, this is the first thing she's saying. You expect her not to talk to you when she gets back, so I found that to be a little funny. But, this moment here, the bottom shot here with Hazel, the funny part is the way that that Mercury's looking at him. He's like, dude, do you need a Snickers? You're kind of on edge right now. So, and then you have Emerald in the back that's like, oh no, he's doing it again. And they're just letting him have his moment. He's just like raging for no reason whatsoever. Yeah, Mercury's just like, dude, do you need a minute? Like, you're kind of on edge right now. Yeah, so I thought that part was hilarious. Yeah, and somebody gave these three a team. Team Meh. Mercury, Emerald, and Hazel. Team Meh. Which I thought to be pretty clever as well. But then again, I expect nothing less from the fandom. But I mean, at the end of it, it was these three and then Adam. So you would have to... I don't know if you can make a team out of A, E, H, and M. You have 2 vowels there. So... I don't know. I don't know how what people can do in terms of making that up. Also, really quick, for those of you guys who are sending in donations and super chats, like I said, I will be keeping touch with, reading them as I go, and if any of them I don't get through at the time of, I will be sure to read them once the discussion wraps up towards the end. So I just want you guys to know about that. Oh, Team Amen. Oh my God, that's so... Wait, yeah, that could work, because Adam would be the leader. Oh, damn, dude. Yes, amen to that, brother. Wow, that is so good. Yeah, because the big thing for me was like, who would be the team leader and what would be the team name? But yeah, Team Amen would work, because, I mean, I would expect Adam to lead these guys. Oh, man, that's good. 10 out of 10 names. Alrighty. Let's see. I was really disappointed about how much we've been shown about Mistral. Wait, hold on. I was really disappointed about how much we were shown about Mistral. Plus, I can't believe we didn't get any more Pyrrha backstory. With Pyrrha, with the whole Pyrrha thing, I think that just came down to fan expectations. I think fans just expected way too much out of that, especially. And in regards to Mistral, I kind of agree with you. I was a little Ian Joshua. I was a little confused by your thing because you said I was really disappointed by how much we were shown. I actually think you meant to say about how little we were shown, because we weren't shown much at all, if anything, of Mistral, aside from the World of Remnant regarding Mistral that we got last year during pre-Volume 4. Like, we got that before Volume 4 even started. And the slums with Crow. That was really it. And then like the 2D sprites of showing that, hey, there are actual people that live here, but we have to show you them in 2D because you're never going to see them in rendered in the show. Which, again, I found that to be very disappointing. Hazel, where is the toilet? He's like squatting too. Jesus. Honestly, I will say this to you guys, and I'm probably in the minority of this camp, but I was really disappointed that there were no World of Remnants this year. And the only thing that I could think of for why there isn't, well, 2 reasons. Number 1, Rooster Teeth has enough people on staff to where they don't really need a week break between episodes, which I feel like that was a big thing for RWBY to be excited, like to look forward to, like, okay, we're going to post a World of Remnant this next week, so we have an extra week to work on the chapter. So I feel like, A, they have a lot more people, and B, I don't think that there's any grand concepts that need fleshing out in the show. What I think they really should do is reinforce a lot of the old World of Remnants that contradict current information, right? Like, the World of Remnant on Aura is obsolete. It's no longer, like, that World of Remnant is no longer canon because, like, Miles and Carrie have retconned how Aura works. It's now an active ability. Like, you have to actively use you have to actively activate your aura to protect you. And the World of Remnant, it says that it's a passive shield. So I really think they need to update these World of Remnants. I don't know. And then, like, you have, like, the council that they talk about, right? Like, no political awareness in the show at all. Like, we don't know anything about the political affairs of this show. Granted, Mistral, they mention, like, oh, Mistral's territory is the largest reaching in the world. That makes it infinitely harder to control, which I'll give that a pass if they're like, oh, yeah, you don't see the Council of Mistral at all. You don't see their influence because Mistral's such a big kingdom and they can't keep tabs on everything. It's like, okay, I'll give you that. But then it's like, we didn't even know about anything regarding the council until the Vital Festival tournament in Volume 3. So their presence was almost non-existent. and then like we're going to Atlas and fucking Vacuo. Like Vacuo is like a barren wasteland. I highly doubt they have any sort of authoritative forces in that kingdom at all, other than like, hey, if you can survive here, then you're welcome, right? They have like that camaraderie of like, hey, if you can survive, then you're one of us. And then I know, like, and then Ironwood's on the council. He has 2 seats on the council, and they've talked about the council a lot, like him and Jacques. So we're going to Atlas. So I want there to be a lot more political awareness, like a lot of more political presence, so to speak. Like I want to see like what do the other councilmen look like? You know what I mean? Is I don't know. It's hard. It's hard for me to really gauge like what I want out of this show, because what I want isn't necessarily what I'm gonna get. So it's like, I don't know. It's kind of all over the place for me right now. Instead of World of Ren, that's another thing that they mentioned too. Carrie mentioned that they kind of want to do spin-offs and OVAs of RWBY proper in the future, but you know, it all comes down to resources, and it comes down to, when he said OVA, I was like, you better be talking about a Team Stark OVA. Like a 2-part Team Stark OVA. Like, give that to me and I'm happy. So, like, and even just OVAs, right? Like, side stories that are canonical, but they are not relative to the canon material when that comes out. That'd be great, too. Like, if they just come out in the summer and they're like, hey, we're going to have a canon RWBY OVA featuring this or featuring that. And it's within the universe, and it's something that we're going to give you here because we can't put it into the show proper. Give us a timeline of where it goes in the show so it makes sense, and boom, you're good, you know? So, almost like the Red versus Blue miniseries. You know, like do a RWBY miniseries where you focus on something that has grave importance, but you don't have like production time to weave it into the show proper. I think that would be great too, and it would be more based on information. Like, don't expect, like, fans should not expect, like, if they do any of these OVAs or miniseries for RWBY proper, it's not going to focus on action. It's going to focus on concepts and points of reference in the show and information that's important to the show proper that they can give us at that time. Instead of, you know, because I feel like when you're working on a season. When you're working on a season, you have to take into everything into consideration. You got to take in world building. You got to take in character development, characterization, you know, action scenes and exposition and pacing and all that other stuff. But if you're trying to get across an OVA, if you're trying to get across Team Stark, very simple, cut and dry, start to finish. Like you're within confines, so you're able to do a lot more with that than focusing on everything in a volume. So. Oh boy, yeah, the day in the life of Shopkeep. That'd be great. I wouldn't complain about that. John Jones, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. I thought Blake and Sun were gonna kiss. Well, I mean, I don't think they're in any predicament for anything like that. At least not right now. They seem very much like friends. So, if Watts is in the next volume, will we see Tyrion too? Because Watts is fixing his tail. No, I think Watts fixed his tail before he left with Cinder and company to go to Raven's bandit camp, because that's what Cinder said. She was like, not you, Arthur. Tyrion is still in need of a new tail. And then after she said that, she was like, when you're ready, you and Professor Watts will meet with Hazel, and, I mean, you and Professor Watts will convince Raven's tribe and all that jazz. So, I'm pretty sure he made Tyrion the tail, and then they left. So, Tyrion will most likely already have it. So, and yeah, maybe we'll see more of Watts because Hazel failed. I'm wondering, I mean, all of them failed in Salem's eyes. Granted, Cinder's a big part of that failure because she's arrogant and she jumped the gun. But yeah, so moving on from that, we got this moment here, and this was big. Like someone in the, I saw a few people typing it in the chat as well, and a few people chimed it in the donations, Remnant Crow especially. This was like a battle in of itself, right? This was... So first off, I definitely want to say, I think Barbara, kind of like how Miles is... Kind of like similar to Miles' performance with Jean, I think Barbara took Yang's to a place that, like Barbara's performance kind of took Yang's character to a place like higher than like she was kind of like wise for her age at this point right here, and she was very mature in the situation, and you know, it kind of like, this was something that especially was like severely needed. And like I go back and like watch previous volumes of RWBY, and I hear Barbara's performance over the years, and I just think to myself, like, you have brought in this character so far, right? It's very much a spitting image of Barbara in a way, right? Barbara even mentioned, she's like, I think Yang is way cooler than me. She's like, I think I'm like Yang but way less cool. And it's like, I think the opposite. I think like she's just as cool, if not like cooler, in the eyes of like fans and people at Rooster Teeth and, you know, and all that jazz. But I really liked this moment for multiple reasons. Number one, you got to call Raven out on her shit, right? You got to call Raven out. I mean, no one else is going to do it, and Raven, unless Raven is told, if Raven isn't put in her place, then she's just going to keep walking around with you know, with her nose in the freaking clouds, thinking that she's the shit, and, you know, nobody can, you know, tell her how to, you know, no one can basically, you know, she can't be criticized for the things that she's done. One Punch Dan, $5 for 5 volumes of RWBY. Thank you for the great content you've given us this volume, Arnold. Really hoping for a Yang and Tyrion mechanical limbs. Wait, hold on. Let me see. Let me get back to that because I didn't get to finish reading that. Really hoping for a Yang Tyrion mechanical limb fight so Tyrion can call her a bitch and Yang can get angry and say, "You tried to poison my sister, damn it." Oh God, I hope not. Well, I mean, she poisoned her the uncle too, so I feel like that's just as much. But Dan, thank you very much for the support. Appreciate the love. Glad you guys all enjoy the content over the years as well. And we're going to be coming back with Volume 6 as well. Hopefully nothing happens with the show, or, you know, hopefully everything is still going strong on the channel for myself and my personal life as well. But if all things are a go, we're going to be doing this until the show is over. And, I mean, I have Red vs. Blue that I'm going to be getting to in March, so there's always going to be content around on the channel. But for RWBY in particular, obviously, this is the heart of the channel. This is what I'm most passionate about out of everything that I do. So, like I said, I really do appreciate that. But, like, the whole Yang and Raven thing, they had a lot of stuff that they wanted to say to each other. And one thing that I was really upset about, one thing that really got under my skin was Raven having the audacity to tell Yang, "You don't know me." I think I actually snapped like a comment when she said that, because I was like, you're the mother. You're the one who left. Like, why do you expect your daughter to know you when the ball was in your court when it comes to that? She can only go based off of what she's told and what she's seen of you, right? Which the times that she's seen it, you know, that she's seen of you, she's even said it. She's like, you weren't kind to me this time either. Like, you're not a kind individual. You're not, you know, like, my perception of you is based off of what I have to go off of. So I don't know. I was like, that makes no sense, you idiot. Like, that's, of course she doesn't know you, and that's your own fault. And but at the same time, again, trying to give Raven a bit of slack here. Raven is in a particular you know, she's in kind of like a bubble in a way, right? She has this lifestyle, she has this past that apparently no one but her team knows about, right? Crow didn't tell Yang about it. Ty told Yang what he wanted her to know about Raven, right? He told her all of the good things about Raven. He told her about her drive, her ambition, her strength, like that she fought for what she believed in, but he didn't tell her the bad stuff. He didn't tell her the not so favorable things about Raven that probably pushed her to be who she is now. And she kind of broke down in a way too. She says she stared death in the face over and over again, and every time she spat in that face because she was strong and she did what she had to. And that could be very true. That could be very true, no matter how Yang wants to interpret it, right? Yang wants to interpret it as like, that's not strength. That's you might be powerful, but you're not strong. And I get that. You know, I get that. Morally, I get what she means, but at the same time, you can't really discredit Raven in that regard. She believes her own lies. Well, I don't think they're lies, Dan, necessarily. Like, I just think, like, she feels justified in what she's done because she's standing here, right? She's like, I'm here, and you're here. And you're here because I believed in you because you're my daughter. And I knew anything that comes along your way you can handle. And I'm here because I've done what I've had to do to survive. And in a way, Yang was really on point, right? I think she says, she's like, oh, shut up. You're not strong. She basically says, you run away when things get complicated. You put others in danger and not yourself. And, basically kind of calling her out on a lot of her shit, right? And the last one was the most poignant because Vernal's dead and Raven's alive because she put Vernal in harm's way by claiming her, even if Vernal was for it, right? As a leader, as someone who's all-powerful, you would think that she would have the best interest in her tribe, right? Even if it's for the tribe. I don't know. And this even works a lot better because Raven runs away. Yang's biggest issue is people who run away from their problems, right? And this was foreshadowed too in the Yang character short. She literally says to Yang, she literally says to RWBY when she like avoids the punch and goes flying into the woods. She's like, I'm trying to play it verbatim. She said, nice one, sis. But you can't always run away from your problems. Sometimes you just have to stand your ground and fight, no matter what. And that is very apparent with why she's so pissed off at Raven and Blake. Someone whose mindset is like, you don't run away. You stand your ground, you fight, you do what you have to, and if you lose, you go down swinging. You have Blake who runs away, you have Raven that runs away, and you have Yang who's someone who doesn't run away. So when Raven's like, I'm strong, I do this, I do that, Yang's really the stronger one of the two because she even says it too. She's like, Salem can come after me and I'll be standing there and I'll be waiting, even if you're long gone. And I liked that. I liked how it was almost like they were mirroring each other in a way. Like they look damn near identical as well. So I think that kind of plays up a bit too. And like Raven goes back at her. She's like, who do you think you are, standing there shivering like a little girl? And that reminded me of what Tai said to her. What Tai said to Yang regarding Raven, right? She was like, the only thing that you both think that the only way to tackle an obstacle is through it, that strength is all that matters in a fight. But if you stop and take a look to see, there's a way around things too. Like, Raven has a very one-track mind. It's like, I'm strong, I fight, and that's it. And it's all about strength, and it's not, like, she doesn't apply anything else in any other way. Which, granted, is a good thing too, because it was that same strength and cunning that allowed her to kill or defeat Cinder. Not kill. I mean, no body, no death. And she froze. She could still very well be falling even during the speech. And we haven't seen where the maiden powers went to. If we see another fall maiden, then that indistinguishably confirms that Cinder is dead, even if we don't see a body. But yeah, I really like this moment, and it was even more like, and then right here too, like this shot here, them two looking, like, staring each other down like they did in Raven's camp, and I wish I had put. Hold on, can I still put that? Hold on, let me see if I can. I don't know if I can add this one. No, I can't. Damn it. But yeah, I should have added both of those images. I should have added the volume, like when they're in the actually, you know what? Let me see if I can do that right now, just so I can kind of make the point a little bit more. See if I can make the point a little bit better. What episode was it? Known by its song? Yeah, right here, this one. All right, let me resize this. Yeah, so right here. I feel like this is such a great parallel, because on the top you have Yang and you have Raven, who looks like super cocky, super confident, like she's in her element, right? She's in her domain, and then at the bottom one, it's like the complete opposite. She's just like, I fucked up, I screwed up. Yeah, that was quick. Yeah, I basically know what I have. All of I screen capped the entire volume, so I have them all categorized by folder, so I just had to go to the right folder and put that there. But yeah, I just really liked this parallel too, because it was just, it was a complete, like, Yang's demeanor never changed, but it was Raven's that did, because eventually she cracked, right? Like, Yang got through to her, and again, this is another thing that I'm kind of preaching, which is Raven she's looking out for her daughter. No matter what, right? She would not have saved Yang from Neo if she didn't care. Like, if she had no care in the world, right? And you could say, well, yeah, like, that's her rule, right? Like, everybody gets one. She's like the Batman of Remnant. I'm sorry, the Spider-Man of Remnant. Everybody gets one, right? But she was like, you don't want to do this. And you only tell somebody that if you know what's in store for that person, right? And I think I said this last week, but I think Yang is going to get to a place mentally and realistically, she's going to be a spitting image of her mother, not in just looks, but in what she has to go through, the losses that she's probably going to have to go through, whether she loses her sister, her uncle, her dad, her dog, her teammates, and she's going to have that same view on the world as her mom. That's how I personally feel. But the only thing is, I don't think she'll waver from running away. But I think a lot of the stuff that Raven is trying to prevent her from getting into, right? It's kind of like the parent thing, right? You can tell a child 1,000,000 times, don't touch that, you're going to burn yourself. Don't touch that, you're going to burn yourself. If they've never experienced what it's like to be burned, they don't know. And once they touch whatever it is they were told not to touch and they burn themselves, that's the first-hand experience that they now know not to do that. And that's just experience. That's how you learn. That's you learning the hard way. But even if someone were to explain to you in detail why you shouldn't do something, nothing will get through to you until you experience it for yourself. And unfortunately, if you get hurt by that, that's the only way that you can really have perspective, is if you're put in that situation yourself. And I think Raven understands that, right? And it's just the fact that we don't understand what Raven has been through, or why she's so hell-bent on keeping her daughter out of all of this. Ty was watering flowers while his family and friends risked their life to say, hey, he's been through enough, all right? He lost both of his love lives. The freaking beacon's in shambles, so I don't know. I feel like Ty is just he's just a very fragile individual. He's best dad. Let's leave him alone, all right? And those flowers are vital. Yeah, as Dan says, those flowers are important to the plot. But yeah, I don't know. His girls have it under control. Crow's with them too, and whatnot. My ear really hurts right now. That's why I keep messing with it to an extent. I don't know why, but my ear really hurts. Anyways, let's see. Hey Arnold, a thought occurred. If Cinder is dead, wouldn't the power she partially stole from Raven, would that return to her? Depends who's ever in her final thoughts. I don't know if it works for partial powers. We don't know what happened with Amber. We know Cinder killed Amber, but did the power go to Cinder because Cinder had the other half? And that's what that's what Ozpin and Iron were talking about. They were like, we don't know how the power's gonna react. It might seek out its other half. So did the power just go and seek out its other half? Or was Cinder in Amber's final thoughts and then the power went to her? It could be one of those two things. So I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure about that. Let's see. Yeah, guys, don't put all caps. No all caps, just because I don't want people spamming all caps. I can see all the comments naturally. But yeah, like I said, okay, well, I have to take this off now because I'm switching images. But yeah, I just wanted that other picture to parallel, this standoff compared to the one that they had a few chapters ago. And then, yeah, the tears, the emotions, the I'm sorries, the apologies. And I feel like they're both sorry for different reasons, right? Obviously, Yang, Raven being sorry. She's like, I'm sorry, I was a bad mother. I'm sorry. That could be interpreted a billion different ways. But I think at the end of it all, I think we know what Raven is sorry for as a parent. And Yang is probably sorry that, it has to come to this. Yeah, and I felt bad for Raven. I'm not gonna lie. Felt a little bad for her. And you know, at this point, and the first thing that I said, I think I said it in my reaction, I mentioned, I was like, when she teleported out of there, I'm like, did she go to Tai? Right? Because she has a bond with Tai, Crow, Yang, and probably Vernal, but Vernal's dead now, but it seemed like she had a bond with Vernal when she was able to use the portals in other instances that didn't include her family and her lover, so, or her ex. So I was like, oh, did she go to Tai? Because that's the only other way that she could literally leave that place. So I thought that was pretty neat that that they still kept that in, and then it made reference in the post-credit scene. So yeah, really upsetting about that. But like I said, overall, a moment like this, it just needed to happen. Like, we had to get a mother-daughter moment. We had to, you know, we had to get that, because we had what was leading up to that in the camp, and then, you know, Yang was there for her sister, and everyone was being impatient, and, you know, things escalated, one thing led to another, and, you know what I mean? So I like that this was like a one-on-one for both of them to kind of just get out what they needed to say and go their separate ways afterwards. So Yeah, I understand. I mean, personally, I don't understand, but I understand the mindset of, like, people who are adopted or I guess abandoned in the way that Yang was, to an extent. Like, one parent isn't around because they choose to leave, or adopted, or whatever the case might be. I think that question rings a lot, which is like, what did I do? Or why, you know what I mean? Like, because why else would so-and-so not be around if, you know, after the fact that I'm born, or I'm around, or I'm alive, or I'm in the picture? I think that's for some people it's like an eating away thing. Like, it's the curiosity of it. It's, you want to get answers, you want to find things out for yourself, for better or worse, right? And I think the ultimate thing too is, like, if you want those answers, you have to expect disappointment, because all of those situations are like, I can't even imagine, you know, wanting, like, Yang, like, imagine Yang tracking down Raven, and Raven's like, get out of here, I want nothing to do with you. You know what I mean? Like, that reality, because that reality exists for people. And for other people, it's regret. For other people, it's rekindling a relationship. For other, like, there's so many variables, and I feel like everyone wants the best case scenario. But I do feel like in times like in those times, it's like, I would personally, like, for me, if I was in that situation, I think I wouldn't want to know, because of the fact that of the potential of it just being like disastrous for any type of, you know, expectations that I might have. And again, I'm speaking with arrogance, because I'm not in that situation, but I don't know. It's a scary thing. It's a scary thing, especially, and I feel like for someone like Yang, and people who are, you know, who relate to Yang's situation, I don't know. I feel like I can't really speak authoritatively on this, because, like I said, I have no insight on that. But all I can really say is, it can't be easy. That's all I can really say. It can't be an easy thing to go through, or deal with, or accept. Like I said, for better or worse. And even if you rekindle, you know what I mean? Would Yang ever really call her mom, like, mom? You know what I mean? Like, would that ever really be her mom, you know, with her now being an adult? You know what I mean? Versus Summer Rose, or, you know, a motherly figure. You know, all of those variables, those are also variables too. So, but yeah. So, all right, let's see. The Hohenheim effect? What is the Hohenheim effect? I don't think I've ever heard of that. Interesting, though. No. Like, I understand she calls Raven mom, but I mean, by definition, that is her mom, so that's a proper term. That's a proper term to say. But would you know what I mean? Like, it's like everyone has a father, but not everyone has a dad, right? Everyone has a mom, but not everyone has a mother. You know, I'm sorry, everyone has a mother, but not everyone has a mom. You know what I mean? Like that. That's what I meant. So, if that makes sense. Full Metal Alchemist, Ed never called his father. Oh, okay, that Hohenheim. I thought it was like an actual thing. I know who Hohenheim is, but I didn't know he was relating it to that anime Hohenheim. Okay. Yeah, okay, yeah, I can see that. I mean, it's possible, so it's just all on how Yang goes through with this in the future. So, I'll definitely echo it too. I thought this scene was really well done. Anna Hullum and Barbara Dunkelman did a great job with their performances in this. It was almost as if they were talking to each other, which they don't do that. They don't do these aren't like read together like with two people. These are all done one person in a booth by themselves, conveying the situation as if the other person's talking back to them. So they did a really great job, and I already like tweeted Barbara about it, but I think her performance with Yang was the best that it's ever been this volume. Like, the range of emotions, I think it's really the range of emotions that she captured with Yang, especially with Yang being a very hot-headed, a very emotional character, especially after Volume 3, and, you know, showing that throughout Volume 4, and now kind of seeing those emotions come to the surface in Volume 5. I think those were really, I think they were really, really well done. Which makes it even more exciting for me to see how she excels even more with the character in Volume 6 and beyond, or however many volumes there are in the future. But I think Yang, like, really nailed it. Like, no pun intended either, because I know that's another line that she had in Volume 1, but Barbara definitely nailed it this volume with Yang. And then we get the Relic. And this thing looks so freaking cool. Hold on, I'm going to read some comments really quick before I jump the gun and get into more discussions. Hey, what's up? Oh, shit, Christian, you're here. What's up, dude? Thanks for joining, man. Yeah, I heard on Twitter you were finally able to join after so long. But yeah, man, thanks for joining. Hopefully I get to see you guys pretty soon in the next couple of weeks. Why is no character asking questions about Summer? I mean, because Summer's been dead for years. She's been dead for like 10 plus years. So, I mean, what is there that really needs to be said? I mean, at this point, I don't think they realize that Summer probably had any relevance with what they're going through now. So, I mean, it's a character that's been dead before the show started. Dead before RWBY could even form words in her mouth. So, 1.5, 2 years old at max. So, RWBY's 16 now. So, she's been dead for 14 years. I wouldn't see a reason to ask questions about her either. Let's see. Good point on the council. We didn't have much of a clue of the government structure. Is the council universal to all Remnant, or are there one for each kingdom? There is one for each kingdom. They did mention that in the Kingdoms World of Remnant. It seems like it's one council that oversees all of the kingdoms. No. So there is a council in Vale. There is a council in Atlas, which Ironwood has 2 seats on. Then there's a council, and there's a council in each kingdom because each headmaster is on the council. So yeah, there's one in each kingdom. But it's just the fact that they have no agency, they have no presence. There's no instances of anything of the sort. And then when Crow mentions is like when he puts 2 and 2 together and he tells Leo, he's like, it was you sit on the council. You had information on every huntsman and huntress in the kingdom. I didn't put that in my head because I was like, that the concept of the council has no agency, has no awareness in this show, that I couldn't even think about that. I couldn't even think like, Leo's a headmaster, which means he's on the council, that, you know, that prestigious council that we all know about and hear about and have awareness of in the show. So maybe he's feeding information to Salem and company to take out these huntsmen, which is what I predicted. Like, I was like, it felt like they were being targeted or like hunted down, but I couldn't make the correlation to the council back to Leo because it feels non-existent in the show. So even when they talked about it in the first episode, right? Like, the council just seems so... I don't know, it just seems so very, like, unimportant almost. Like, not worthless, but just insignificant, I would say. Even though they play a huge role in how shit is run and how things are managed in society. Will Tyrion get a unique Grimtail or his old one? I mean, since Tyrion is making it, I'd assume it'd be like a mechanical tail, like a mechanized tail. If it was Salem that was doing it, it would probably be a Grimtail. And, I mean, from that's all we can really infer. The Atlas relic is a globe. What's your opinions on the purpose of the relic? We will get to that in 1 second, guys. I'm just trying to read through the rest of these. Second best mom went back for cigarettes. I mean, I feel like she has a lot more to think about than those at this point. Do you think Salem might gain the maiden powers because of the Grim Arm that Salem wanted Cinder to get it so that she could get it in the end? That's been a headcanon of mine for a while. I thought Cinder was eventually going to be the vessel for all 4 maidens, and because Salem is part Grim, she's probably not compatible, so I thought she would pull like what Ozpin did with Oscar, like, right, have like a hostile take over Cinder's body, so she's in a young body, has all 4 maiden powers, will acquire all 4 relics, and will be like this unstoppable force. But if Cinder is dead, then that makes things a little complicated, and we don't know who the maiden power goes to. If Cinder did die, who's in her final thoughts when she dies, you know? Granted, the Spring Maiden isn't relevant anymore because they have the relic already, but I still think, like, that's still power that could be against you, right? Like, if it were me, I would still want to have, the maiden powers on my side, even if I had the relics, because maidens are still a force to be reckoned with. What are your thoughts on Blake and all potential love interests around her? To be determined. I mean, I feel like Ilya likes her. Adam's had a past with her. Yang and Blake has been, like, teased among the fandom. Sun and Blake have been teased throughout the show. The songs have given reference to some ships regarding Blake as well. So, I mean, I have no opinion on it. It's just a matter of whatever happens, really. Let's see. Do you think the relic is inside the lamp, or is it the lamp itself? That's a lantern. I'm pretty sure it's a lantern. So, yeah, let's stay on track, guys. I mean, I understand the ship question was brought up, but let's not linger on that. I mainly just don't want any debacles or discussions of... I don't want any feuds of that nature in the chat. But yeah, I really liked the design of the relic. It wasn't what I was expecting at all. Like, it doesn't seem to have any practicality in terms of using it in combat, right? Also, I don't know if any of you guys would agree, but I saw this relic and I instantly thought Breath of the Wild. For those of you who played it, it reminded me of the like the color scheme of the Divine Beasts, right? The Divine Beasts have like a beigeish gold like armor, and then their interior is blue. But if you find them, their interior is red because they're taken over by Calamity Ganon. So I instantly thought of Varuda, because that's the only Divine Beast that I've come across, and it reminds me of Varuda as well. Just, I don't know why, it just does. And it had the same color scheme. So that's the first thing I thought of. I was like, oh my gosh, that reminds me of Breath of the Wild. And then this pocket dimension too. We don't know its significance. We don't know if there's other pocket dimensions like it at the other vaults. But it seems like time is like dissolving almost. Like in the top one, you see like the blue like slowly fading outwards. You see the background, like when Yang steps on the ground, you see like the dust particles, the sand particles kind of dissolve into the air. And it just seems like this place is frozen in time, but at the same time it's like eroding in a way, or dissolving in a way. I just really liked it. I thought it was really, really neat. And the music too. The music when this played, the two things that caught me, like that pulled my attention immediately, was, well, three things. First off, this pocket dimension, like, what is this? Why is this like a dimension behind this door in this tree or whatever? So that was the first thing. But the two things was A, the OST that they used for the background, and B, the sound that was coming from the relic. It sounded like a heartbeat, right? Like a pulsating sound the closer she got to it. And I was just like, is this thing alive? Does this thing have a presence? Like, it just felt so mystical. And I was just like, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if something was going to happen when she grabbed it. So I was just really worried as well. I was like, Yang, be careful. Like, you don't know what's going to happen when you take that thing. Is it going to react if it's going to leave the vault? Is this going to affect the real world of, like, of the kingdom? You know what I mean? Because this could have been, like, the power source for what allows everything to function in the kingdom. And if you take that away, then you know what I mean? I don't know. I really liked it. It was a very mysterious and, like, mystical and magical kind of vibe to it. And I think the OST was what really did it for me. And again, the pulsating heartbeat noise when Yang approached it. And then she just grabs it, and I'm just like, oh, nothing happens? And then obviously Yang breaks down from, you know, what just happened with her mom, and, you know, she has a moment to herself. Would you say that the environment of each relic is compatible with what the relic means? Do you think that an empty desert would correlate to a clear mind? I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that much to read in between, like, to read into it to that extent. I just think this is a result of Ozpin's magic in a cool way that makes you just like, holy crap, like, what is this? How is this possible? And, you know, it's magic. You can't explain it because you're trying to explain the unexplainable. So I just think this is like a display of Ozpin's magic. I don't know if all of them are going to look... They're all probably going to look different in some way, shape, or form. You know? So yeah. But yeah, this is a lantern, and it doesn't give me any type of reference of what the other three relics can be, which is what I was really hoping for. That's why I've been so hell-bent on seeing what the relic looked like this entire volume. And last volume, like, after we found out about them, I'm like, oh, I wonder what they look like. Because it, you know, it could have given us an idea, like, because when you think of a lantern, when I think of a lantern, I think of Thresh from League of Legends, because he has an ability that you throw the lantern, a teammate catches it, and it pulls them to you. So that's and I mean, obviously in a lantern, obviously it lights the way for you and whatnot. But yeah, I don't know if the lantern itself, if its appearance, like, because what is this thing, right? Like, this is an embodiment, a physical manifestation. This is the physical manifestation of knowledge in the world of Remnant. It's a lantern with blue stuff in it, and it pulses like it's alive. I actually tried to go online and look up, like, lanterns and see if there's any type of mythos regarding lanterns, or if there's any type of backstory regarding lanterns. Of trying to kind of dissect and figure out what this could possibly mean. I didn't come up with anything, but then again, I did light searching. I didn't really look that deep into it, but hopefully someone else did. Oscar said it was a lamp. Oh, did he say a lamp? I could have sworn he was like, he said an L with, so we have to get the lamp. Yeah, I think he did say the lamp. It could have been a lamp. It looks like a lantern to me. Especially with how they hold it, like, Crow, like, holds it like it's a lantern, and Yang holds it like it's a lantern, too. Yeah, we need to get the lamp to Atlas. Okay. Blue Kool-Aid. Yeah, I thought it was a lantern the whole time. It looks more like a lantern than a lamp. I mean, it kind of looks like both when you think about it, but yeah. Lamp, lantern, same thing, yeah. And everybody and their mother is saying that it has Genie from Aladdin in it, which, I mean, I kind of get, I mean, we get it. But yeah, I'm just so confused, not confused, curious, I would say. I just want to learn about it. And now they have it in their possession. So between now and reaching, because we got to get to Atlas. So, you know, Volume 5 could very much be them still in Mistral, gathering their bearings, figuring out what they're going to do with the kingdom first. They need a new headmaster, too, so that's another thing. and they need a new headmaster. It seems like Gira is going to be the leader of this new White Fang, so that's another thing. And oh my god, yeah, we got to get to the next part. So ultimately, I hope now that they have the relic in their possession, I hope Ozpin explains a little bit about the relic as they go to Atlas, or once they get to Atlas and they're trying. I guess they're gonna bring the lamp to Atlas to protect it there too, because that's the strongest military power. So, lamp is Egyptian myth. Oh, that's probably why I couldn't find anything, because I was looking up a lantern and not a lamp. So you said it's Egyptian mythos. That is interesting. A lantern gives you information, relic, about what is in darkness unknown. Simple, stupidly simple, I guess. I don't feel like that has anything to do with it, really. That just seems too basic, really. But yeah. So moving on from here, like, I really like the design. I wonder if all of the other relics have the same color scheme, or if they're all, like, different in, like, completely different. Because, like, okay, if one's a lamp... Oh, wait a minute. I'm thinking about this now. I wonder... So, like, the lamp from Aladdin... I wonder if they're using inspiration from the relic, like the relics are inspiration from mythical items in fairy tales, right? Like they use the lamp from Aladdin. I was thinking about the sword from The Sword in the Stone. If Jean's sword, I don't know, not Jean's sword, but like if there is a sword out there, like the sword that the last King of Vale used, if that's a sword, like the Sword in the Stone, so to speak. Just certain things like that in fairy tales. That'd be pretty interesting. Yeah, and they're going to Atlas next, which is the Relic of Creation, which I wonder if they acknowledge that, because Atlas is like innovative. Like they create a lot of stuff. They make like robots and weaponry and stuff like that. And I'm wondering if that has something to do with the Relic of Creation, because they've accelerated so far beyond any other kingdom that I'm wondering if that has to do with any influence regarding the relic itself. Vacuole symbols is... No, I'm not talking about the symbol. Not the symbol. The symbol has nothing to do with the... I don't think the symbol has anything to do with the relic. Unless Mistral's is literally a lantern, but I don't think I'm not sure. The relic looks like Haven's symbol. Oh, does it? Oh, shit. Oh, God. Well, then Mistral's is, well, then well, then Atlas is... Oh, my gosh, I'm such an idiot. Vale's... Okay, Vale. There you go. That's what I meant to say. Vale's is double axes, and they had double axes on the wall in the room that Oscar was training in this volume, like when Ruby and him were talking about like Beacon and stuff like that. Yeah. So the relic for Beacon is in that dojo training room, essentially. Why do you think the lamp is in a desert? I mean, it's in a vault, not really it's in a pocket dimension. I'm not going to necessarily go with, I don't know. It just depends on what imagery or what they're trying to go with, like what this image is trying to tell us, what this scene tells us about the item and where it is. The thirst for knowledge, that's pretty clever. Port's weapon is a relic. Yeah, I mean... I don't know about that, but that is grade A theory crafting there, Ashley. I'll give you credit for that. Anyways, let's move on to a more disturbing moment, which is this guy getting killed. So disappointing. It's like, what would have been worse? Like, I was so upset about this moment because it's like Leo... Ozpin, at least Ozpin would have never killed you, right? Like, Ozpin would have never killed you. The worst that could have happened is if Salem beat you, then guess what? You all die together. That's the worst thing. You all die together. But that wasn't enough for him. You know, he sells out other people, gets innocent huntsmen and huntresses killed, siphons information, gives Salem basically the key to the kingdom, and at the end of it all, he's just trying to save himself. He doesn't care about anything that's happening. He's just like, it's me. It's like, I can still be useful. You know what I mean? Like, please. Like, I don't know, he's literally just trying to save himself. I think they kind of went a little too strong on the whole cowardly lion thing for him, right? Because at least the cowardly lion gained some courage in the end, right? He wasn't a coward the whole show, or he wasn't a coward the whole, you know, the whole story. And it kind of sucks that they kind of didn't give that opportunity to Leo, and I don't think they could have given that opportunity to him because he's gotten, like, at that point, his actions costed lives, right? Lives that he directly had a hand in killing because he gave them information about these huntsmen. So, well, he tried attacking the seer, but, I mean, the silence said everything. The silence said everything about, like, well, I'm not pleased, and I have nothing, the cold silence before he attacked was just like, there's nothing that needs to be said, you're useless. And he even tried to kind of ease up to Salem. He was like, oh, I'll leave. I'll go find you. I'll do anything. I can still be useful. Like, he's just trying to save himself at that point. And I don't know. It sucked for him. It really sucked for Leo. And I didn't think that it would have come to this so soon, right? And they're going to find his body, too, which is even worse. They're going to be like, oh, Leo's dead. He got killed. Salem killed him. And what I'm also wondering, too, is that this Seergrim's here. Has Salem been watching everything that's happened? Right? Like, has this Seergrim just been hanging out in, like, a corner or something, and Salem is just seeing everything go down? Which, I mean, it wouldn't surprise her. Which, like, by her expression, she was just like this, just watching. Doesn't seem like she's surprised by anything. It seems like she just saw everything unfold herself. They're gonna find the no, I think the Seergrim will be gone by then, by the time they find them. Cowards die many times before their death. Oh, I like that. Cowards die many times before their death. The brave experience death only once. Julius Caesar, Act 2, Scene 2, Page 2. A lot of 2s in there. Wow, I really like that. Good shit, Julius Caesar. R.I.P., dude. Thank you for that, Doom. Appreciate it, man. Or Pierce. Appreciate the support, buddy. Hey, Arnold, what have I missed in your discussion? Ooh, you missed a lot. We are 2 hours into the discussion so far. But for the most part, I'm kind of talking about the whole Leo and Salem situation now. Basically leading up to where this is in the show. We've kind of talked about everything else before. But yeah, it sucks about Leo. I wish he could have, I couldn't picture him being redeemed after what he did, but I don't know. He wasn't a villain. He wasn't you know what I mean? I don't know. He was just trying to save himself. He wasn't trying to really save humanity and whatnot. And again, I think that in a way is just a testament of Salem's influence, right? Like, she can turn someone like Leo against Ozpin to where even Ozpin's like, Leo, what happened to you? Like genuinely, he's just like, Leo wasn't always like this. And I'm interested. It's interesting that Ironwood had his suspicions about Leo, right? In Volume 4, when he's talking to Jacques, he says, he's like, I don't trust Leo to do anything about it. And that was the first instance that we heard of him, and we were like, oh, cowardly lion. That's probably why he doesn't trust him, because he's a coward. He's just gonna, run off and whatnot. So I can see, I don't know, it just sucks. It sucks about his character. It's just like, you lived your life as a coward and then you died. All right, Jonathan, you have yourself a good night, dude. Have a great night at work. Don't work yourself too hard there, bud. And I appreciate you sticking around, man. I will talk to you very soon. I love how Salem exploits literally everyone's weakness. I mean, that's what she's all about. She's all about exploitation, and kind of just milking you dry until you're no longer useful, and then getting rid of you, and then finding someone else. So, and it's just like, Leo should also be an example for everybody else. I mean, granted, the other villains aren't gonna know that like, how would they react if they found out that Salem killed Leo because he was no longer useful? I feel like these villains are fucking stupid. Like, they're working with a monster whose goal is to destroy mankind that they are a part of. So it's like, even if you win, like my friend Anton put it perfectly, it's like, even if you win, even if Salem wins, there's no place for you in her world, because you're a part of her, you're a part of that same thing she's trying to destroy. So it doesn't, I don't know. These guys are so like hell-bent on petty revenge. Like, it's like, okay, you get your revenge, but that's it. And it's very short-lived, because by the end of it, Salem's gonna get what she wants, and all of us are fucked. You know? Yeah, and it proves Raven's point, too. It's just like, I don't know. It's a little all over the place. Leo had it coming. He wasn't worth keeping. I'm not saying he was. It's just like, you know, I can understand a character like Cinder dying. I can understand a character like Salem dying and stuff like that. Like, people who like deserve it. I don't think Leo necessarily deserved to die. I just think, like, I don't know. I don't know. I feel pity for the dude. I felt pity for him, really. And it's just the way that he went out, too. Like, he just went out kicking and screaming, and no matter what, he just, like, got shanked once, begged even in his dying breath, and then just got shivved a second time. And the sound, too. I think the sound is what really made it, like, troublesome for me. Like, very disturbing. And you could hear it in his voice, too, like the liquidy gurgling noise, like, when he was, like, he's like, please, like, I don't know. It really leaves it up to your imagination how he dies. But yeah. It's something. And then you got Salem over here too, who's just like unamused, like coward. And that's the thing too, right? It's the fact that even when he realizes that he is done, he is still a coward, right? I would have at least cursed Salem out or something. I would have been like you'll lose in the end or something, right? Not just like, I don't know. He just really kind of just took it lying down. Literally, like, nope. And no pun intended, but he literally just took it lying down. And I don't know. Anyways, I need you guys to give me give me like a minute or so. I just made it through almost all of my water, and I really, really, really need to go to the bathroom. So, the next thing we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about the Yang scene next. So, give me a minute, and I will be, thank you very much for that. I will be, you know what I'm going to do for Volume 5, for Volume 6? Instead of having a starting soon moment, because I never added another one, I'm going to have a be right back screen. Just so it's actually appropriate, so people don't think, oh, he's starting right now. Yeah, so give me a minute. I will be right back. Alrighty, I'm back. I'm back. Oh, I feel so much better. It's such a relief. Alrighty. Oh, you guys are playing, trivia? Oh, Leo's death was foreshadowed in the opening. Well, I mean, Watts' presence was foreshadowed. The Grim was foreshadowed. I don't know about him. Hold on, let's see. Nico Lee, thank you very much for the super chat. Would you do reactions to Genlock or Nomad of Nowhere? Where does this volume 5 top 5 where does this volume where do I place it, like in my top 5? And do I have any volume 6 theories? I don't have any volume 6 theories. I really don't think you can formulate anything because this volume felt very conclusive, other than the fact that we're going to Atlas. I haven't been able to really formulate where I put this in terms of my personal, enjoyment of the volume compared to other volumes, just because I feel like I have to rewatch it again as a whole. And then, I'm thinking about doing reactions to Genlock. I don't really know just yet because, I mean, it's not even out yet, and I don't know if I'm going to like it. I don't know if it's going to be something worth my time or worth investing in, even though I have a lot of expectations for it, and I know a lot of my friends are going to be checking it out too. I will talk a little bit more about that towards the end because I do have some screenshots about Genlock as well. Be right back, just cut my thumb. What the hell? That's why you take safety scissors, Dan. Let's see. I feel there is something more than petty revenge going on. And there's one thing I've known about RWBY. It's something more than meets the eye. I mean, a lot of these characters, I feel like they're, it's just like, I don't know. I feel like they're not getting a bargain when it comes to Salem. Salem's like, hey, Hazel, Ozpin killed your sister. Join me, and I'll help you get your revenge on him. Cinder, you want power? You got to go on this grand crusade for me. Along the way, you have to fight some dudes, but you'll get what you want at the end. Watts, you're a disgraced Elysian scientist. We'll get back at those scumbags. Join me, and we can take down Atlas together. Like but at the end of the day, Salem, and again, it's just like Crow said too. Salem, like she has other people do her work for her. And then when you cast the blame, she's nowhere to be seen. And on top of that, she understands the usefulness of others. Like, she's going to use other people so she doesn't have to do anything. To be honest, I felt like this volume was the weakest, maybe the second weakest, but I still liked it, which is a lot for me. Hashtag Genlock. Like I said, I'm kind of interested in Genlock. Like I said, I'll get to that towards the end of at the end of the discussion, because they premiere Genlock and Nomad of Nowhere promotions at the end of after the credits, so we'll get into that. So Yang's got the relic, and I thought this moment was so funny too, because you have Emerald there, who, like, she's such a kiss ass, right? Like, she's like, you guys, like, oh my god, she was like, she's like one of those prissy, like, middle school girls who just, like, you'll see, Cinder will be here, and she'll be here with the relic, and she's gonna stop all of you. You'll see, just watch. And then, like, she doesn't show up. I'm just like, shut the fuck up, Emerald. You sound like an idiot. Like, you're so far up Cinder's ass that you can't really, like, I don't know. I just found that to be very, like, childish almost, the way that she's, like, talking down to kids like she's a kid herself. I don't know. That part was just like, Emerald, shut the hell up, please. Like, you sound like a child right now, talking to children themselves, so I don't know. And then, like, her world just came crashing when it's like, you thought it was Cinder, but it was me, Yang, with the relic. So, yeah, that was just the one part of Emerald that felt very out of character for me. Like, that just the delivery of that line felt very out of character. She's like, you'll see, she'll stop all of you. I'm like, and you're not gonna, like, are you really putting that much faith into Cinder? Like, can you not hold your own without her? So yeah, I don't know. I felt like that was a very off-put kind of delivery line for Emerald. And then Yang shows up too. And everyone's, like, they're distraught. Like, yeah, Mercury has the audacity to, like, slam his fist in the ground. Emerald's crying. Hazel's like, shit, we lost. And I'm just like, that's what you get. Like, I was just so sad. I was so happy. I was like, we've been dealing with this shit. And when I say, by we, I mean, like, the heroes, like, the protagonists, like, they've been taking L's since volume 2. They just didn't know it at the time. Like, they were just getting set up so hard in Volume 2. Volume 3, they took an L. Volume 4, they're just, like, they're depressed, doom and gloom everywhere. Like, no hope. And it's just, like, it's constant, I don't know. It's just, like, they're just constantly getting freaking, I don't know. They're just not winning, basically. And then, now they're winning, and the fucking hero, the enemies, the ones who put all of these characters, like, killed their friends, destroyed their school, separated everybody, like, is causing so much chaos and panic in the world, they have the audacity to feel emotions now because they're losing. I was just like, that's what you fucking get. Now get out of here. I was so satisfied. I was so happy. Emerald and Mercury were really wasted this volume. I mean, to each his own, I guess. Again, like I said, I feel like they're pawns in a bigger game. I feel like they had so much prominence and so much relevance in volumes 2 and 3 because they were, like, that was the most intricate that their plans ever got. It was like, we have to infiltrate this school, we got to play it safe, we have to work everything to our advantage, and it worked out for them. And this volume, it was supposed to be like, their plans were literally like taking candy from a baby, and Cinder fucked it up for them. So for the most part, they didn't really have agency this volume either, I will say. But they definitely gave Emerald a lot of potential for future volumes at this point. And you guys are going to lose me here for a second too. But this was, this right here was massive. And no pun intended either. But like, this part was so crazy. Number one, and I'm pretty sure most of you guys will already realize this, but I've been beating the drum for God knows how long. Emerald is broken, right? I've been saying that before this episode, right? And this episode should tell you the potential of the bullshit that Emerald can pull. Okay, right? And this is where her emotions are, like, not in check at all. Brandon Tyler Walker, thank you for the $20, bud. Can't wait to see your reaction to this episode. Keep it up, friend. Thank you very much. I'm going to be editing my reaction to this tomorrow, so it'll be up Saturday morning, hopefully, no later than noon. But yeah, the finale, oh man, this was something else. But thank you very much for that, dude. I appreciate it. So Emerald, like, under emotional stress, right? So let's see. You have, okay, I'm gonna say, all right. So count this on your hands, all right? For every name that I shout out, raise a finger, right? I'm sorry. Mercury, Hazel, Ruby, Weiss, Blake, Yang, Jean, Nora, Cinder, Crow, Ozpin, and I think I'm missing one. Who else is in this room? What is that, 11? Emerald affected 11 minds at the same time. Did I say Ren? Oh, Ren. Okay, Ren. Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure. I don't think I said Ren. Okay, so yeah, 12. Basically, 11 or 12. Depending. However many people are in here, right? 11 or 12, we'll say. About 11 or 12. She affected 12 minds at the same time. Right? Granted, she, as during volume 2, she can only affect 2 minds max, right? 1 mind I can handle, but 2 is a stretch. And when she had 2, she basically had like a migraine, like a slight migraine. And then she fucking goes to 12 people. And it's maintained pretty long before she ends up getting and what I think happened is like she did that under like the severe trauma of like just being unable to accept or comprehend that Cinder is dead, or to her knowledge Cinder is dead. And like she's like a hazard to herself and her teammates, right? Because you have like Mercury for the first time, really, he's like, Emerald, we have to leave, we have to go, we have to get out of here. And she's just looking all around and she's just not comprehending anything. And then she just flashed, just like darkness and red and black, and then you have like this nightmare fueling itself out of the ground. And this is affecting everybody, both her allies and her enemies. And there's 12 of them, 12 minds. And if that can be harnessed, if that can be tapped into, if she can get to that point naturally, I still can't understand how people will say, there are some people, like someone was talking about this with me a few weeks ago, when I've been chiming since the beginning. Every time Emerald's brought up, I'm like, Emerald's semblance is broken. I was like, they're like, yeah, she's not broken. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? She can warp the perception of reality for other people for a predetermined, like, as long as she's focused on them. And then in this instance, under emotional stress, she can do it to like anybody in the room, right? I really do think that this is like the most broken semblance in the show, especially if she can tap into it, and even more so if she ever becomes a maiden. Right? Because if Cinder's dead, the first person that I think will get the power, one of two people. It's either going to be Emerald, and if possible, Salem. Can you imagine Emerald with maiden powers and her semblance? Imagine... Yo, I was just thinking too, I made that list, that Jean aura amplification list, right? If Jean were to amplify Emerald's aura, it would basically be like Infinite Tsukuyomi from Naruto, where like everybody in the world's under a genjutsu. I think that'd be pretty dope. Broken as hell, but dope nonetheless. On top of the fact, if she becomes a maiden, and if she becomes unstable, like emotionally unstable. But yeah. Broken AF. Anyone who says Emerald isn't broken, you're lying to yourself. She is so broken, it's not even funny. Ah, wrong side. But yeah, I couldn't believe that. And then you got these okay, so here's the image too. I had to include it just because she's got like freaking salad fingers. If any of you guys saw that, have ever seen that YouTube video, she just looks like the embodiment of like disgusting torture and fear. I don't know. Obviously this is a distorted version of what Salem looks like, which is understandable. Emerald's not all there in the head, so it makes perfect sense. Emerald pulled a Rita Repulsa at the end. Magic semblance, make my monster grow. Oh god. Like Power Rangers? Oh yeah, and this is the first time any of them are seeing what Salem looks like. It took me a while to process that, because we've seen Salem so much that it's just like we understand everything. Like we understand the characters, they're all their different perspectives. But this is the first time, like RWBY has every right to be afraid, right? She's the youngest one out of the bunch. She's the most, I would say, naive and the most innocent of everyone. And like, that's just like, she's probably like looking at the embodiment of fear. And like, she's like shaking too, and she's like looking away while everybody else is like standing their guard and fighting. So yeah, like that definitely shook up RWBY. And yeah, this is the first time that they ever seen what she looks like. Granted, I don't know why Ozpin said it's an accurate illusion. I mean, I think I get what he means. Like, that's the terror. That's the scary. That's the boogeyman. That's who we're fighting. That's like, that is the potential of her, of like what she's able to instill in others when it comes to fear. I don't think he literally meant, yeah, she's got like those weird fingers and she's that tall, and I don't think he meant it literally. But Wait, no, I'm pretty sure he says, word for word, I'm pretty sure Ozpin says, they were like, what was that? An illusion, but an accurate one. And then he's like, that was Salem. So they at least know what she looks like. And hopefully she doesn't have, like, you would think Salem has a semblance, right? I mean, unless she's a Grimm, then I guess not, but I'm wondering, even then, I'm like, I really feel like Salem is an exception to like any rules that have been established in the show. I would not be surprised if she is a Grimm and she has a semblance. I wouldn't be surprised if she's like just an exception. I literally give her and Ozpin a pass when it comes to anything, when it comes to any pre-established rules in the show, because magic is a thing and because they're so old that I feel like they predate a lot of these known concepts. And I don't know. That's just my personal take on it, right? I'm still wondering if she's part human, part Grimm. If she's a human turned Grimm, if she's a Grimm-human hybrid, if she is like the highest evolution of a Grimm, you know what I mean? Like if she was just if she was like a lowly Grimm at the start of life and time itself, and she's evolved and has aged so much that she's become the closest thing to mankind in terms of her evolution. Like, is she like the apex evolution of Grimm, essentially? So I mean, that's another thing too. It's so is she the, you know, is the, because we can't really, I personally don't take anything Ozpin tells us at face, like at wholesale. Like he could be the god of light and she could be the god of darkness, right? It could very much be, he could have probably weaved or spun the story around to make it sound different than what it actually is, to just have people on his side. But yeah, I'm still fascinated by Salem to this day. I really hope we get more of her as time goes on. We got a little bit more. I mean, we haven't seen her since since chapter 2, if I'm not mistaken, this volume. I mean, besides this episode, but we didn't, like, she just says coward and that's it. But I mean, like, actual presence of her where she's talking, and no one's at the base either, so I feel like there's no reason to go back to her unless she's planning something on her own. But, and she's just waiting too. Like, everyone's out and about. It's like, what does Salem do on a, like, what has Salem been up to these past 2 months? Because everyone else has been on the move, but Salem's just been like standing in that room, talking to her Seer Grimm, making other Grimm, fucking like scolding Tyrion probably. I don't know. Making fanfics, I guess. But yeah, I liked that. I thought, like, again, this was really just like a very terrifying moment for the people here, like, who are seeing her for the first time and like, who the fuck is that, you know? So let's see, Emerald's childish thing. It was supposed to be like it. Think to how she's acted around Salem. The breakdown and lead up was akin to a child realizing they lost their mom or surrogate mother. I can understand that. I mean, I understand, like, she sees Salem, she sees Cinder as like the world to her, and I'm not upset about her breakdown. I'm just like, it just felt out of place how the delivery of it. Like, she seemed very snobby. Like, oh, you guys will see. Just wait. She'll show up and teach you all. I just felt like that was that in of itself was childish, but I don't know. Oh, Sad Emerald 2. I will be getting through to donations in a bit. I'm not trying to read them all at once when I'm in the middle of discussing, because I don't want to lose my train of thought. And I don't want to constantly be getting off track. But I will be, if not during, I will be reading and going through all of the ones that I missed out during the discussion. I did mention that earlier, though, so I'm not sure if you were here when I mentioned that. Salem spends her time watering the flowers just like Ty. I don't even think life can be supported where she lives, besides Grimm. But yeah, so after everything's basically calmed down, We found out that Adam was the only one who made it out, which seems understandable because they had like freaking, they have like, they basically had like 8 other White Fang dudes present, and Ilya, like 2 of them surrendered, Ilya bodied 1, so I feel like, and then you have like hundreds of other Faunus around, so I feel like those dudes can't get away. Adam getting away is understandable because they can't punk Adam like that, like they did last chapter, and then arrest him this chapter. He still has more of a story to tell. And I'm wondering for him too, right? Like the White Fang the White Fang has the support of Salem. Salem could very well see Adam as a disappointment as well, and come after him, or like reinforce to him like, hey, you guys suck. Now you guys have to listen to me now. Because Cinder isn't around, and Hazel, I don't know what they're all going to be up to, but it seems like they kind of realize that now the White Fang is kind of in shambles because Adam abandoned them, Siennacon's dead, they're kind of like 50-50 on their efforts, and they don't really know what to really do. So it seems like Ghira's going to step up and take the reins as the leader of a new brotherhood. It's not going to be the old or the new White Fang anymore. It seems like it's going to be under a new banner, a new focus, a new mission statement, with Ghira at the helm, which means now they need a new chieftain of Menagerie, unless all of the citizens left Menagerie to come here to fight, which I highly doubt. They just abandoned their island like that. So, I think that's going to be pretty neat. Like, Ghira and them are going to be, like, back in the game again, with their own army, which is awesome. I can't help but think of, like, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood when they said a new Brotherhood. I'm just like, Assassin's Creed, of course. At least that's the first thing that I thought. Question, do you understand or speak Spanish? I do not. I do not speak Spanish. I apologize. I only speak English. Or if you understand ancient Latin, then to an extent I can speak to you in Latin if you want. Never change, you awesome human being. Those shit posts though. If you like those posts that I made, I have 3 more coming. I have 3 more that I brainstormed last night, but I won't be able to get them out until after my RWBY reference video. So yeah. Yeah, I took honors Latin 1 through 3 in high school, so I have very rough, like, Latin. I can't speak in Latin, but I can say, like, a sentence or 2, basically. Yeah, oh, they're so good. One of them in particular I'm really proud of. I was going to use it in my my TLDR review, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to maintain and focus on those with, Genlock and Ruby Chibi and Red vs. Blue and Twitch streaming and everything else. I don't know if I can, I don't know if I can really do all that. Why are you like this? Ashley, I'm surprised. Ashley, I'm really surprised you're still asking me that question to this day. You should have already accepted it by now. But yeah, long story. Basically the White Fang are no more, but this new brotherhood is coming into the fold with I guess just Faunus in general who want. It's basically the old White Fang, but they're not called the White Fang anymore. At least I think so. So, and Ghira is seemingly going to lead it now. Which makes me wonder, too, who is going to be the new headmaster of this academy. Because their old headmaster is dead, and school starts up the day, like in 2 days for people in Mistral. So, the Black Fang. Jesus. I was thinking that too. I'm like, what's the opposite of black? I'm sorry, what's the opposite of white? Black, the Black Fang? I mean, it doesn't sound too peaceful. The Gray Fang. Well, now you're not even trying. But yeah, we'll see. And, yeah, so let's talk about this scene here. I found this really interesting because, so the heroes won. Round of applause for the heroes. They finally won. They finally are taking home that W. The heroes are taking an L and are on the run. They're crying. They're in shambles. Good for them. I have, this isn't one of the 3 RWBY posts that I was talking about, but I am going to make a little bit of a post for this too, right? Regarding a little bit of the contradiction when it comes to Yang here. So Crow approaches her, she approaches Crow, gives him the relic. He asks what happens. He's like, I have no idea. Cinder wasn't there, which is accurate. She's like, when I showed up, Cinder wasn't there, which was accurate. Vernal was dead, which is accurate. And Raven, gone. Now, I can understand, and I can understand, and I can accept the fact of why she wouldn't want to tell Crow about what happened in the vault. Mainly because she didn't divulge any information that she has to keep close to the chest, like, oh shit, Raven told me this really important thing about Ozpin or something, so I'm just gonna keep it to myself. That was literally a moment for her and her mom. Like, there is no reason for her to be like, yeah, I had it out with her, and we said what we needed to say, and we moved on. Like, that was a very personal moment, like a mother-daughter moment that I feel like no one, it's really the business of nobody else. And for her to just say, yeah, she's gone. I think Crow can also infer that she is the Spring Maiden now, and Yang also knows that she's the Spring Maiden now, so, I would assume Crow would have to figure that out, especially if Yang's telling him that she went down there and Raven wasn't there. So Yang wouldn't be able to confirm or deny that she is the Spring Maiden now. But one thing that I found a little interesting was that Yang was the first person to tell Ozpin, she's like, if we're going to do this, if we're going to keep risking our lives for you, then no more lies, no more half-truths. But then she goes and tells Crow a half-truth. Like I said, personal, mother-daughter, no one else's business. But still, the principle of the matter. So, yeah. Yeah, Raven does the same thing too. Everybody's a hypocrite. Yeah, Vernal's corpse was kind of a dead giveaway. I feel bad for Yang since Raven just said my life is more important than yours. She's complicated. This is all complicated stuff. Yang's concern isn't Ozpin's quest, it's protecting RWBY. Yeah, I get that. But if you expect Ozpin to tell you no lies and no half-truths, it's only common that you practice what you preach. Poor Blake, she seems to be filling in on everyone. Crow and Raven turning into birds, maidens, Ozpin, even Salem, the relics. Yeah, RWBY did say it's a long story. Also, didn't mention this, I completely forgot, but we got a callback to Checkmate, right? Like, the second Blake gets back, RWBY, like, literally takes the opportunity to use a team attack, which I thought was pretty great. So, but the one thing that it felt a little weird, because it's like, you expect them to do a team attack after not seeing each other or using that team attack in like a year. So I was like, and on top of that, how are they going to do a team attack? Like, is it the exact same one they did on the mech? You know what I mean? Like, I'm obviously nitpicking here, which it doesn't seem to, it's not really important. It's just the fact, like, holy shit, they're doing team attacks. They're right back at it. But yeah, cut away from the fight. I don't care. I don't care about cutting away from the fight. We got a massive fight last chapter. Maiden versus Maiden. I really don't give a shit about that we got no fight this chapter. I felt like we didn't really need to see that. It's a fodder fight, to be completely honest, anyway. So, I don't know why people were so worked up about that. It's like, we just got a badass fight last chapter. And we had another fight, and we had like some minor fights with Ozpin and Oscar in the previous fight from that, and then in chapter 10 we had we had Ilya versus Blake, and then Sun versus Ilya. It's like, I felt like my fighting quota was met, especially during the second half. Obviously during the second half of the volume, so I really didn't need a fight this chapter, even if there was one that was going on that I wasn't aware of. Can you please post the full stream after this, at least for a day? I missed the beginning. Yeah, these go up every week. I have every live stream discussion that I've ever done for RWBY since I started this. my Volume 4 live stream discussions and my Volume 5 ones. So, yeah, this will be uploaded in a couple hours after the stream is over. So, don't you worry about anything regarding that. The triumph is the triumph is ours, mofo. Yeah, so basically the intro basically confirmed that the heroes were going to win, but I mean, you can never really... Also, this intro is the first one that has ever been completely accurate. I think everything that happened in the intro happened in the show, which before this volume, we could have never taken the intro for like wholesale because most of the stuff never really happened. So this year, this chapter, like basically the intro was full of spoilers. They basically went down the full-blown anime route with showing the intro, which was littered with spoilers from start to finish. But yeah. Why did Yang start crying when she picked up the relic? She didn't cry because she was picking up the relic. She was already there. Like... She had tears in her eyes and whatnot when she walked in. So just grabbing the relic, it was just a matter of like, I have a moment to myself. Let me break down. Let me like let it all out. You know, it wasn't. I don't think it was. I don't think it doesn't have anything to do with the relic. It was just like you just had an emotional moment, but your objective is right there. Finish the objective and then take a breather. So yeah. Let's see. I was so happy when Sun gave Blake a twist and a nudge to go see her friends. He has been so crucial. He's been so critical to her character. A pillar of trust and support. Exactly. And that's why I loved him so much this volume. Like, he was so pivotal to Blake's development. And now, moving forward... Blake can be that. Like, I feel like now there should be no bad blood. Blake should never have to run away from her team anymore. Yang should never have to be upset about anyone on the team for something that she might not completely understand. Like, they all dealt with their own insecurities on the outside, and now that they're together, they need that time apart is only going to make their bond stronger now. And that's another thing that I really like too. Yeah, so... Team RWBY getting back together. This was such a tender, wholesome, heartwarming moment, especially on top of the fact that Casey had you had the song All That Matters in the background, which they credited that song in the credits they credited that song in the credits, so that's how I know the name of it. But yeah, All That Matters, a slow, tender song, kind of reminds me of like All Our Days and Home, which I really like those songs. And I tweeted out at Casey too. I was like, you are so talented. I'm so looking forward to the Volume 5 soundtrack now. Like, I think this soundtrack is the first that I'm actually excited for every song that I've heard. There isn't one specific song that I'm putting on a pedestal compared to the others. Like last year it was Bad Luck Charm. And no, last year was like Morning Follows Night that I was looking forward to the most. Volume 3 was The One. Volume 2, Volume 1 I didn't have any expectations because it was the first soundtrack. Volume 2 I think was Die. I think I was looking forward to Die the most. But this volume, I'm looking forward to every song that I have heard equally. If I were to pick one song that I'd put a little bit higher, it would probably be Smile. But other than that, I'm looking forward to all of them equally. But yeah, this was great. Like it was just like they didn't really have a moment to kind of grasp like, holy shit, it's you after so long, because they're in the middle of a fight. But the fights, everything has subsided. The relic is secure. The enemies are gone. White Fang has been taken care of, and then like RWBY just collapses from relief, which I found that to be great. Yang goes to her side, and then for the first time since they've been on a team, RWBY and Blake have actually spoken physical words to one another, and I couldn't be happier. It only took them 5 years to acknowledge each other's existence in the show, but they made it happen, and I'm really proud of that. I'm really happy about that. Yeah. Yeah, well, physical words, Julian, in the sense of, like, none of that off-screen bullshit. Like, I'm actually seeing and hearing them exchange words to each other. Did they speak in Volume 1? If you're talking about, like, when they were talking about, it's like, oh, your book, what? I'm talking about what, since they've been on a team. They weren't on a team yet. Yeah, they weren't on a team yet when they said that. So I'm not counting that. At that point, she's just talking to a random. That doesn't matter. So I'm saying, as being on a team, like your teammate, you haven't talked to them since the show started. Like, exchanged words, had a conversation. What do you think the relics do? Do they have are they a super weapon? Boost the maiden powers? No clue. I think the only way that you can really tap into that power is by having magic or knowing how to tap into that power via magic, which, again, the relics are older than anybody in this show besides Ozpin and Salem. So, and depending on what Ozpin has, depending on the information that Ozpin has shared regarding the relics, I mean, only he and Salem really know what they do. Holy crap. Ray. Oh, it's Spanish. Okay, that's why I can't pronounce it. I'm still gonna fuck it up. I'm sorry. Boricua or Boricua? Boricua? I don't know if I'm saying it right. I'm so sorry, by the way. I'm gonna call you Ray still. Is Spanish. Puerto Rican, lives in the United States. Ray is king in... Oh gosh, you're a king? Just to let you know. Well, the more you know, you know? Yeah, I'm terrible at pronunciations of foreign names. That's why I was already struggling at the beginning. But, I mean, even more so now. I don't mean, like, one-off words. I mean, like, legitimately talking to Blake. Like, Yang has talked to Blake. Yang has talked to Weiss. RWBY has talked to Weiss. RWBY has talked to Yang. Weiss has talked to Blake. Like, RWBY and Blake have never, like, talked to each other. So yeah, I'm just going with that. They've never really exchanged or had a moment on screen together. But I loved this. I loved this moment. I love this moment, like... like, the first thing, like, RWBY's like, what are you doing here? And it's like, what are you doing here? And, if you guys remember Volume 1, right? The Yang character short, to be specific, right? Like, right here, RWBY asks Blake, what are you doing here? And Blake says... I'm sorry. Like, she asked Blake, what are you doing here? She's like, I was gonna ask you the same thing. And RWBY responds with, it's a long story. In the Yang character short, that's exactly how RWBY and Yang... That's, like, the last things they said, like, right? Yang breaks out of the nightclub, and RWBY's like, Yang, is that you? Oh, hey, sis, what are you doing here? And Yang responds with, it's a long story. So I thought that was a neat little reference or nod to that exchange as well. It was from RWBY, it was RWBY and Yang then, but now it's RWBY and Blake now. So, yeah, my bad. Yeah, I meant the yellow trailer. What was I saying? Yeah, I said the red trailer. I said the red trailer because RWBY was in the yellow trailer. My bad. Yeah, I meant yellow. Don't mind me. I'm an idiot. But yeah, let's see. All of my girls are finally together, finally. Like Sailor Moon, Team RWBY are all sisters. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that we'll get to see Atlas next volume. Well, hopefully, you know what I mean? Oh, I said character short. You guys know what I mean. Damn it. But yeah, and the part that really tugged at my heart was when Blake and Yang, like when RWBY was like, all that matters is that we're together, right? And it was really on Yang to kind of drive the tone of that moment. She could have been like, no, it's not. But I think God bless Weiss, right, for going and having that conversation with Yang in chapter 8 or 9 or whatever, because if that hadn't happened, it would have made things a lot more rockier of a reunion here. Like, Yang would have been a lot more upset, she would have been a lot more emotional, and, you know, had a lot more to say than just, yeah, like, just, she's accepted everything, and she's moving forward now with basically, like, accepting Blake, and, you know, as long as this shit doesn't happen again, they're good, essentially. And she just gave Blake time, you know, and if Blake's willing to open up and talk about it, she's there to support her. And that really came down to the conversation that Weiss had with her a couple chapters back. So, shout out for Weiss, best girl, as always, coming clutch, saving the day, bringing the team together, keeping that camaraderie going. And I loved it. And then that's when the song started. And I just loved it, because it wasn't just, like, these two actually, like, getting back together, but it was just, like, the whole team, and it just felt like, it felt so long. It felt too long since these four have really been together. And it's weird that they're together now, because we've gone 2 years without them, so it's like, oh my gosh, like, how are they gonna react? How are they gonna, like, how, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, how is this show gonna function again now with all four of them back together? But yeah, this was just a very wholesome moment. It was a long time coming. They were teasing it since the volume started. People were asking, is Team RWBY gonna get back together? And they were just like, I'm not saying. So basically it took 2 volumes for them to get back together, because this is the finale, so it's the very last chapter of the volume, so essentially 2 volumes for Team RWBY to get back together, over a vast majority of months. Over like a significant amount of time, like almost a year apart, which does wonders. It works in their favor for them being independent and being on their own and realizing that they can do stuff as a team, and if they're not together, they don't have to worry, because they, you know, they're good on their own as well. Hey, what's up, Flint? I'm sorry, Dom. Yeah, I'm still streaming. I'm going 3 hours. In 4 minutes, we will have reached 48 hours of RWBY Volume 5 discussions. So, once this stream reaches 3 hours, I will have been discussing RWBY for 48 hours total accumulated time since the character short. So the Weiss character short, Blake character short, Yang character short, and then chapters 1 through 14. Yeah. Over the last 3 months, the last 15 weeks, actually even longer than that, because the character shorts were coming out in the summer, but for the chapters themselves, the last 3 months. Oh my gosh, it's a labor of love. And I'm looking forward to doing it even more next year. But yeah, so this was a wholesome moment. I'm really happy that they're all back, they're all together. Oh, and I did a comparison of the first time. Yeah, Team RWBY is back together. So I did a comparison of that original reunion in Volume 1 and now their reunion again. And the only thing is Blake and Yang, I'm sorry, Blake and Weiss are swapped. So, yeah, group hug. And then in the top one, at least Sun's in the picture. Yeah, this year. Yeah, this year. God damn it, Ash, you know what I mean. The jumping quality. Yeah, I know, look at that. Look at those freaking police cars and those barrels. I mean, sorry, barrels, Jesus, those crates in the background. But yeah, just from like Maya, like Poser and Maya. There you go. Such a massive improvement too. I realized too, the top part, like everything is just so much brighter in Volume 1 compared to Volume 2. There was no shade or anything like that, or shadows or any of that stuff. Just felt like everything had like brightness set to max. Poser looks more comfy. I think it's just nostalgia, really. It's just like that's where everything started, you know? Volume 3 was clearly, like, them pushing Poser to its limits. Like, the volumes were never going to get any better than Volume 3 if they hadn't changed to Maya, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately, it's good because scaling-wise, the show just objectively looks better in every aspect of the animation when it comes to comparing Poser to Maya. But, like, it's just, I feel like it has a more authentic feel with volumes 1 through 3 because it was such a widely popular and successful show with such a inferior, you know, an inferior, you know, tool that they were using. What did they use before? They used Poser Pro, if I'm not mistaken. Now they use Autodesk Maya, which is basically like an industry standard. So yeah, I loved this moment. I loved it, absolutely. Some of you guys probably saw the RWBY short video that I made of like my reaction to chapter 14, and it was basically the top image of like, yeah, Team RWBY's back together. And yes, I had to put a spoiler tag in the comments. I had to put a spoiler tag in the title, and I had to put a spoiler tag for the thumbnail because yes, there are people out there that will take this as a like legitimate spoiler for the chapter. And so someone did not message me, but they left a comment and I read it and I understood it, but some of my they got spoiled by some of my my RWBY shorts. And I personally, I'm of the mind of like, well, you know, I don't want to be like that asshole or that person that's like, well, you should have a Rooster Teeth First account if you care about RWBY that much to watch it as soon as it comes out. Like, I'm not going to be that guy. But I'm definitely going to be a lot more mindful in the future of posting stuff on, like, even if they're shorts, if they're whatever, I'll put spoiler tags, I'll put thumbnails that don't ruin the surprise for people. Just so I don't ruin anyone. I don't want to be the cause for someone's experience being hampered or ruined because they saw something that I posted, you know. But hey, you know, I understand it, and I'm completely fine with that. Oh boy. But yeah, again, the reunion was great, and then the wrap up from here was Oscar finally getting control of his body, and he's all battered and bruised and hurt and wounded and fatigued and out of breath. And you know, he gets the last word out before passing out that Ozpin's last words before going out was they have to get the lamp to Atlas. We don't know why. I'm assuming it's because Atlas has precautions for keeping a relic safe. I wonder, can you put more than one relic in a vault? Right? I understand the vaults are locked by a specific maiden, but they don't house a specific relic, I don't think. So I'm wondering if they're like, if Atlas has like state-of-the-art, top-of-the-line, maximum level 5 security clearance security, you know, for the kingdom, where their relic is like the most safest. I'm wondering if that means they're able to keep both relics in there then at that point. I wonder if Neo's going to be prominent in Atlas, because apparently Neo can disguise herself, and I wonder, that'd be pretty cool for infiltrating, because Atlas, if Atlas is as like superpower and futuristic as they say, I don't know how anyone, I mean, unless Watts hacks their network like he did in Veil, which, I mean, I'd hope they like updated their firmware and you know, their firewalls and all that shit. They actually beefed up their security, because it seems like Watts was on the inside. Like, Watts was very affiliated with Atlas to the point where he knew how to rig their bots, how to basically take over their network, how to hack into their system. And Watts is like, especially since they probably don't know that Watts is behind this, right? And he had to have been a very high up person to have that kind of information or that kind of technical know-how to get the drop on Atlas the way that he did. Yeah. Oscar deserves a week-long nap. I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to be out for a few days. But yeah, Crow has the relic. Ozpin and Oscar are okay. Hopefully, I'm pretty sure Oscar's going to have a few choice words to say to Ozpin for taking over his body without his consent. Granted, Some people, you know, the argument is like, yeah, well, he did it to save his life, but at the same time, I don't know. It would set Ozpin back if Oscar died. I can't wait to see how things... I can't wait... Oh, hold on. I can put the audio back on, actually. I will do that. I can't wait to see how things... Wait, hold on. Let me see. I can't wait to see how things in Atlas play out, especially since the kingdom closed its borders and Ironwood being on edge half the time. Yeah, I hear you on that. I mean, we haven't seen Ironwood either in an entire volume, so... And Winter, right? So Winter's most likely gonna have a presence in volume 6. It's so weird to say volume 6 now, because I've been saying volume 5 for the longest time. Yeah, so volume 6, Winter and Jacques and the Schnee Dust Company and you know, and maybe Penny's father and potentially Penny 2.0 and Whitley. Right, and Ironwood and Atlas Academy and Team Funky, and we have so many expectations. But again, based on how this volume went, how much we didn't get to see, I really don't know how I can look into this volume, like going in. I don't know how I can really look into something like Atlas, like having my expectations for the kingdom and seeing what we're gonna see and everything, just based on how little we got out of Mistral. Yeah, and then obviously the final scene here was just, again, more heart beating noise from the Relic. Makes it seem like the Relic has like a presence or a life to it in a way, and like it's pulsing, like the light. I mean, I can understand that's like, yeah, that's a way of, you know, fading, cutting to black, and, you know, the credits rolling and whatnot. But yeah, I don't know. The Relic just feels like it has a lot of presence. Yeah, Klein, the Cake Butler, everything else. Yeah, I mean. No, I don't mean Shitley, I mean Whitley. I don't think Whitley is as bad as people make him out to be. And I'm single-mindedly, and I was single-handedly persuaded because of Eruption Fang's video on Whitley being a victim, actually. Even though he's, you might call him an asshole, he's the only only child of Jacques who actually listens to him, you know? Yeah, he's a product. Whitley is just a product of his. Whitley is just a product of his environment at the end of the day. Eruption Fang's great. I love the dude. Love his videos. But yes, that is what they left us off with. We are going to Atlas Academy.
Did you notice how the Relic was
RWBY Volume 6?
I don't think that it only represents knowledge, but calls on forbidden knowledge as well.
Did you notice the Relic was whispering? I don't think it was... I mean, it's definitely, like, making noises, but I don't think it was necessarily whispering. Like I said, it has, like, a life to it, a presence to it. It has beating and noises and things that are radiating off of it, so we just don't know the nature of the Relic and how it works necessarily, so we have to just wait and see. Also, so the credits were rolling. And here, you guys are going to lose me for a bit. These are the songs that we got so far. We're probably going to get one more song that we haven't gotten on the sound, that we didn't get in the show. For those of you who don't know, for those of you who don't know, the lyrical songs that are not acoustics or remixes for the previous volumes, there's usually, holy fuck, Michael! Dude! Zoronic Kiba. Bro, how have you been, dude? I'm surprised you're alive. I saw you posted on your channel a while, like a week or so ago. What was it? It was like another show. I can't remember it, but I did see the upload. How have you been, man? I assume you watched Volume 5? Wow, man. What a blast from the past. It's been so long since I've chatted with you, man. Hanging in there? Nah, I hear you, dude. I hear you. But yeah, so... Volume 1 had 9 lyrical songs. Volume 2 had 8. Volume 3 had 8. Volume 4 had 8. But we only got 7 songs so far. So we got The Path of Isolation, Mirror Mirror 0.5, which was in the Weiss character short. We got Smile, which was in the Blake character short. We got Ignite, which was in the Yang character short. We got Triumph, which is the opening of the volume. We got All Things Must Die, which was during the Cinder and Raven battle. We have All That Matters, which was actually, hold on, let me go back. I just miscounted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All Things That Matter, which is 6. That played when Team RWBY came together. And then this time, aka From Shadows Part 2, which means I'm expecting an I Burn Part 2 from Volume 6, like an I Burn Part 2 for Yang, essentially, just because we have Red Like Roses Part 2, we have Mirror Mirror Part 2, and we have Mirror Mirror Part 0.5, and now we have a From Shadows Part 2, so you need to do an official I Burn Part 2 for Yang at some point. And obviously the this time played during the credits of the volume. So, and for those of you guys who haven't listened or want to listen to it in full at this point, the song is out on YouTube right now. Flint of RWBY has it on his channel with lyrics in full. That is the first full song that they actually have too. RWBY needs a new song. I would love a Red Like Roses Part 3. I think they should just continue RWBY's at this point, because that's like the closest thing that we get to development for the character at this point. But yeah, so we get the post-credit scene, and it's a very underwhelming one compared to the other volumes, just because it's literally Tai Yang tending to his sunflowers, and Raven basically using his portal, or using her portal to him to get out of Mistral. And he just has the look on his face like, I don't have time for this crap, or God damn it, it's you. I don't know if she actually stuck around to actually talk to him, or if she just used him as like a gateway to get out of there, like what she did with, like I mentioned earlier, like she did that with Crow, right? She used Crow as a portal to get to Mistral, not to talk to Crow, but to get to Haven and set up the plans for the ambush. So I could see her just using him as a portal as well, and he's probably used to it. He's probably like, oh, it's you again, just using me as a portal, just for your own convenience. A friend of mine said the reason why he has this face right here is because the feather landed on his lawn, and it's just like, bitch, did you just ruin my lawn? So we had a good laugh about that. That was pretty funny. And then a lot of people are basically saying that like he's a booty call for her, like that's the only reason why she's there after everything that's happened. But yeah, from that, you could literally just take this point and insert it right after Raven left, because after Raven left Yang, this is where she ended up, so she just did that to kind of just get out of there. Only useful for breeding, yeah, pretty much.
Calm down, we're not here for your money.
Hey, Shane.
I don't think Raven wants to get tied down in the lives of anyone else at this point.
God damn it, dude.
She just wants to run, fly, away.
I guess. Dude, you're so quick-witted with those puns. Those are really good. But yeah, that is the volume finale, guys. Another year, another 48 hours long discussion of RWBY from start to finish, from the character shorts to the finale. We have Atlas to look forward to next. We have Atlas to look forward to. We have Winter, hopefully. Because they gave us the bait and switch, right? They were like, oh yeah, Winter's already in Atlas. I mean, Winter's already at Mistral. And then we get to Mistral and we find out that they all got recalled back. So maybe that was because, I'm wondering if that's because Elizabeth Maxwell couldn't do voice work for her this year. At least not, like, substantial voice work. Also, the fact of the matter being, oh, no. That could work into the story, too, because it plays up the whole Winter telling Weiss in the character short, I'm not always going to be around to save you, Weiss. And that's perfect example of, like, you were banking on your sister being here, she's not here, and you actually almost died. So, yeah, you definitely can't rely on your sister, and you damn sure as hell cannot be relying on your freaking summon as much as she does. Especially when she has, like, time dilation, and she's got all of these other abilities up her sleeve. So yeah, I'm also wondering if time dilation is in tandem with lightning dust, because that would kind of make sense if she used lightning dust in tandem with her time dilation to accelerate how fast her opponent, how fast her teammate moves, or how fast she how fast she accelerates her own movements, because it does give off like a yellow light to it as well. Who wouldn't want to see Weiss finally confront Beerus? Yeah, and on top of that too, she can just summon and just tell him like where to go. He's not even a real Schnee. He's not even a Schnee, so he can't summon, so he can't do anything about it. Let's see. I'm just reading comments really quick, guys. I'm going to try to catch up with any donations that I missed out on during this initial discussion. Oh, and lastly, really quick, because this is literally the last thing I'm going to talk about. Are any of you guys looking forward to either one of these 3D let me rephrase that. Are any of you guys looking forward to either one of these animated series? Nomad of Nowhere is categorized as a Western fantasy 2D animated series being directed by Jordan Swears, who did Rooster Teeth Animated Adventures. It has like to do with like, it's like Western and there's magic. I think they said it's a cross between like, it's like a trio. It's like Lord of the Rings and two other like series that I've never watched. So it's like an adventure, and it's 2D, it's Western, sort of Western inspired, and there's like magic and fantasy elements. And then Genlock is their new 3D animated series, being directed by Gray Haddock, who is the head of animation at Rooster Teeth. He does the voice of Roman Torchwick. He's a huge fan of like mech shows.
I've been waiting 2 seasons for Team RWBY to use their 4-man team tactic, Group Hug, since the beginning of season 4. Love
good thing you got what you wanted, I guess.
Zarno, enjoy your break, you deserve it. Also, the new villain better be like a grim man, or at least male.
We shall see. I will mention that in a second, but yeah, Genlock is going to be Rooster Teeth's 3D animated mech show. So it's going to be inspired by things like Gundam and Evangelion, and a bunch of other shows that are inspired, like that Gray's inspired by, because he's directing it, and he's like a huge fan of like those old school classic mech anime. And every time on fan server, he would always talk about it. Dishwasher Bach in the community, who does a lot of RWBY fan art, is doing concept art for the show as well. They released the first teaser trailer for it. It's supposed to be coming out, I believe, some point in the summer. Like, probably Summer of Animation, which is crazy because Red vs. Blue is also coming out around that time. RWBY Chibi is going to probably end before the summer. Let's see, February, March, April, May, June, July. 4, 8, 9, 12, 16, 17, 22. Yeah, like, I could see RWBY Chibi ending in July, and then Genlock starting from July to October and being 12 episodes. So, August, September, October. Yeah, I can definitely see that. Like,
calm down.
And then Red vs. Blue going at the same time.
Hey,
finally
got to see the live after missing 2 in a row.
Oh man,
love your work. Can't wait for the soundtrack. Keep it up. Hope we see Winter next volume.
Yeah, same here.
I kinda miss her and Weiss together like Yang and RWBY. Love you in this community.
Thank you guys very much for the support this volume. Not a huge mech, but I'll keep my my options open. I'm the same way, Michael. Holy crap. Shades McGee. Oh my god. $100 super chat. Shades McGee. Been following you since volume 3, man. Always love to hear your thoughts after 10 hours of work days. Keep doing what you're doing and keep up with the amazing shit posts. I got 3 more of those coming, so you'll have a blast. The RWBY SpongeBob one kill. Yo, the RWBY SpongeBob meme is like the culmination of my meme work in the very short time that I've been doing them. I was so proud of myself when I made that, and I was like, this is gonna live on in infamy. Like, this is gonna live on forever. And I was just really happy about that one, so I'm really happy you liked it. Looking forward to Genlock. Shout out from Wisconsin. Never been there though, but thank you very much. Thank you very much for that generous donation. I really do appreciate that. And I will definitely keep up the good work. I will definitely keep up the content. Volume 6 will be coming out in the fall. I'll still be doing these reactions, discussions, reviews, live streams.
We're not here for your money.
I've loved the stream so far. Sorry I have to cut it short, so you don't have to deal with my P unit
Oh my
anymore.
God, Shane.
But
just go
I'll
to
go out
bed.
with a yang-
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate you as well, of course. You bring a lot of puns to the discussion, a lot of face palms, losing a lot of brain cells per stream, but I guess it's worth. But yeah, I'm still gonna be planning on doing a lot of stuff, even with RWBY, even after Volume 5. The soundtrack is probably gonna come out at the end of the spring, towards the beginning of the summer, like it did last year. You guys also have to remember too, I believe Laser Team 2 came out this past year. And I'm not sure if Jeff composed the soundtrack for that movie as well. So if so, we might have to wait for a Laser Team 2 soundtrack before we get the RWBY Volume 5 soundtrack. But just like last year with Volume 4, I am not going to listen to any songs that come out early. Obviously, aside from the one that came out in the credits, because that's the first full song. And I will be doing a live stream discussion and listen to the soundtrack of Volume 5 when that comes out later this year.
Calm down. We're not here for your money.
Hey, what's up, White
That
Shadow?
wasn't supposed to show my real name is Seamlabs working correctly. This is kind of me testing it. Sorry about that.
No, it's
Still
fine.
love your content.
Not a problem, man. I appreciate it all around. But yeah, so really quick, Michael, getting back to like mech shows. I'm not a fan of mech shows either. Like, and when I say I'm not a fan, I don't dislike mech shows, but I don't go out of my way to watch them, right? I watched like Gundam growing up, like on Toonami. Never really liked it. Never really liked Big O. And I've never watched like Code Geass, which I know Code Geass is like the closest thing to like a Death Note. And I'm not saying I haven't watched it because it has mechs, but I know that it has mechs to an extent. I never watched Evangelion. The only show that I had ever watched with mechs in it that I really, really, really liked as a kid was Zoids, right? Like Liger Zero, like Toonami, Zoids. Like, I loved it because the robots weren't humanoids. They were animals and creatures and dinosaurs and shit like that. Like ligers and raptors and, you know, foxes and shit like that. Like, that was cool. That was badass. And as a kid, I'm like, oh shit, that's so freaking cool. And then you have these people piloting it, and the Zoids themselves are kind of like alive, like they have their own AI, which I thought was neat. Yeah, my favorite episode my favorite episode that I fondly remember of Zoids was the Liger Zero versus the Shadow Fox, right? I forgot the dude's name, but the main character had Liger Zero, and his friend left his team, went to another team, got the Shadow Fox, and was basically playing them. He got the Shadow Fox, and everyone thought he betrayed him and went to a new team. But he just did that so he can get a free Zoid. And they both had the golden like claw attack. I forgot what it's called. I think it's called like Buster Slash or something like that. That was like the coolest fucking episode I've ever seen in Zoids. Yeah, I wish I had a Zoids thing. Oh, Ashley, you're getting off? You have yourself a good night. I will talk to you later. Yeah, shout out to Toonami. If it wasn't for Toonami, I probably would have never gotten into anime. Or at least I wouldn't have gotten to it as early as I did. Oh, Hunt was leaving, okay. Well, I mean, you can leave too. I don't think anyone here will miss you. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's been like 8+ years since I've seen it. Yeah, it's an oldie. It's an oldie, all right. Makes me feel a lot older too. Especially since I got into anime like when I was like 7 or 8. Yep, never miss Dragon Ball Z at 6 o'clock unless your mother feels like watching Ricky Lake TV show, like talk show, where I have to miss Dragon Ball Z. I used to hate that. We only had one TV in the house. I used to hate that so much. My mother would watch Ricky Lake, which was like a talk show where like drama talk shows really, where you have like, it's almost like, it's like akin to like Maury or Jerry Springer, and that came on the same time as Dragon Ball Z. And if my mother was watching it, then I wasn't watching Dragon Ball Z that day. So I was really pissed off about that. But yeah, let's see. Give me 1 second. Also wanted to say the text-to-speech voice has read the donation. The text-to-speech voice that reads the donations is cute AF. Yeah, that's compliments to you, Justin. That's the Justin voice bot. Thank you. I switched it out for like the generic lady bot that just sounded like she had no soul. So I'm glad a lot of you guys liked it. Also, Tai Yang sunflowers were pretty vital to the story, huh? Keep up the great work, man. Well, I take back my compliment after I read that pun of yours, but I'm just joking. Thank you very much for the support. Man. It's very bittersweet now that I think about it, right? The volume is over. I get a sense of my life back now, right? Like I said, I love RWBY to death. It's been a part of my life for 5 years now, going on 5 years now. The community is incredible. The people who work on the show are talented and amazing, and they put 110% of their effort into every volume, into every episode. And I'm really gonna miss these. Like it's the same old song and dance every time we get to this point of like having to say goodbye or having to say, see you later. But especially since volume 6 was the most effort I ever put into my channel, I ever put into RWBY, right? Like, first off, we got 14 episodes. I covered every aspect of news and information that came out with RWBY leading up to the premiere. I did my TLDR reviews, which were a success. I would call them a success, even though I had to cut them short. And I'm definitely going to be reevaluating that format for volume 6. We made it through 14 chapters of discussions, including the live stream discussions, and we followed up with 14 weeks of live reactions to the volume as well, which the last one will be up this weekend. I put in so much work. Wait, did I say volume 6? I'm sorry, volume 5. See, now the concept of volume 6 is screwing me up because I have to get used to saying volume 6 now. Which is, it's going to feel a little weird. But yeah, I meant volume 5. But yeah, like, I put so much of my life into the last couple of months with this show. And like I said, it's a labor of love more than anything. It doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like a chore. It feels like I'm doing something that I love, and I want to just share that with other people. And I want other people to be a part of it too. So let me also remember this before I forget. I'm going to take off slow chat now that the general discussion is now finished. So you guys can have your freedom back. Excuse me. Yep, so slow chat is now off. So you guys can go crazy, but don't go too crazy. How many viewers did we have today? We had 1,200, I believe, is what we capped at today, which is great. Yeah, mods, take a breather. Take a breather. You guys are good. 5 years and this show still feels fresh to me. Exactly. Like, it doesn't feel, I never get the sense that the show is waning on me, or that it's like I'm losing interest, or you know what I mean? Like, and I get like that with a lot of shows. Like, some shows I'll watch and then I'll just drop halfway through, or I'll be too overwhelmed with a bunch of other things going on in my life. Like, I almost somewhat prioritize RWBY with a lot of, like, my day-to-day things that I do. I'm like, okay, RWBY's coming back. I need to make sure this, and this is done because RWBY is that important. And I remember, like, other volumes, too. Like, I think I put RWBY above a lot of my other priorities. So I got my head on straight this time around. So, yeah, we just did a lot of stuff. And then the channel, too, right?
Down. We're not here for your money.
I am a recent addition to anime, but I got into it through RWBY. Also,
nice.
I really
That's great too. Like, and that's a
up.
great thing too. Like, RWBY's kind of like could be seen as like a gateway to anime for a lot of people too. I know some people, like, RWBY is definitely a gateway into getting into Rooster Teeth. Like, I got into Rooster Teeth because of RWBY, and even people now, like, I know a few people now who started watching RWBY during volume 3, or I'm sorry, during like volume 4, or even now volume 5. And now we're getting into Rooster Teeth's other stuff, like their podcast and, their other shows, because, like, RWBY Chibi and stuff like that, just because RWBY, I guess I feel like it's just so accessible to anyone. There's like no set demographic. There isn't like an age, like you have to be a certain age to watch or enjoy this show, and it acclimates accordingly. So, I don't know, it has something for everybody. And like with these other shows too, like Genlock, I'm looking forward to that. Would you guys like for me to cover Genlock? Like, I'm already interested in covering it, but I don't know what the reception is going to be, right? Genlock is going to be very much like Volume 1. Like, I'm going into Genlock with the same mindset of RWBY Volume 1. Like, this is going to be the Volume 1, like, it's, like, the Volume 1 of RWBY is going to be that to Genlock Season 1. So, I mean, obviously, if I enjoy it, I'll continue, but I still want to at least know... I still want to be able to gauge how people feel about it and what people, if people, like, because if you guys are interested in it and I end up liking it, then it's a win-win. Then, I might as well just cover it. I don't know if I will give it the full RWBY treatment, right? Reactions, reviews, and live streams. I might do just reactions to Genlock or reactions and reviews to Genlock. I'm not sure. Especially since I'm starting it from the beginning, right? So I have, like, a clean slate. Like, this is going to be the first show. I mean, I did it for RWBY, too, but I didn't start doing content for RWBY in Episode 1. It took me until, like, Episode 10 of Volume 1. So, and then, obviously, shitposts and all that other stuff. That's pretty fun. Just do shitposts for, like, the entire time between volumes. Yeah. Now, I have 3 more really good RWBY posts that I feel like you guys are going to like. Or at least are going to be entertaining. And then Red vs. Blue is coming back. For those of you who are constantly asking me about RWBY, yes, RWBY is coming back in March. I need this month to kind of take a breather, actually see my mom and my brother for once. I haven't seen them, like, besides Christmas, I hadn't seen my mom since before RWBY started. So, and, like, actually hang out with my friends and play some goddamn video games for once. Like, I didn't get to play... I have Breath of the Wild that I still haven't gotten back to, and a billion other things, and RWBY was just such a major focus that I wanted to make sure I was on top of, that now that it's done, I kind of need a little bit of a break to kind of recharge and refuel before I go back into the fray. But yeah. Yeah. But no, I will be getting back to I will be getting back to... RWBY. RWBY Chibi, I'm going to be starting that a little late. RWBY Chibi Season 3 starts this weekend. It's going to be posted on YouTube next weekend, but I don't think I'm going to get to it for like another week after that. I'll probably get to RWBY Chibi like the week after, and I still have the last 4 episodes of Season 2 that I gotta check out. So yeah, long story short, I'm kind of giving myself a little bit of a break now that RWBY's officially done. And like I mentioned to you guys, I'm just going to go back to it just to kind of finalize for people who weren't here.
Calm down. We're not here for your money.
When do you think the RWBY 5 soundtrack
When do you think the Volume 5 soundtrack's going to be out?
I'm so hype over it, XD.
So the soundtrack last year, I believe, came out in May. I want to say it came out in May. And the reason why it was so late was because, again, Jeff Williams was working on the Laser Team soundtrack at that time. And Laser Team 2 came out this year, too. So if he's composing that soundtrack, too, it might be the end of spring, the beginning of summer that we get the Volume 5 soundtrack. Which is good. I don't really mind either way. I have enough stuff to keep me preoccupied. And when those songs come out, they'll be great. And, I mean, that's all I can really say. Oh, Volume 4 came out in June. Okay, even worse. Even further, rather. So, yeah, May, June, basically. So, end of spring, beginning of summer. So, May, June is probably when we're going to get that. We're probably going to get the Blu-ray DVD as well around that time. Maybe even sooner, because that's not affiliated with Jeff necessarily. That's more affiliated with how fast Rooster Teeth can produce and distribute those. So, don't think Jeff was doing Laser Team 2. Like I said, I'm just implying or speculating because he did the first season and I haven't seen Laser Team, so I don't know. But yeah, so another thing, really quick, just want to kind of reiterate this. This is the big project that I'm working on right now for RWBY Volume 5. This is really going to be the last RWBY Volume 5 video that I'm doing. So like, this is the last live stream discussion. This weekend will be the last reaction video. And And then this is going to be kind of like the overall cap-off video, my RWBY Volume 5 reference and trivia video, which this so far, I mentioned it earlier, but this video, you guys can see the timer of how far it is. This is 5 minutes in. I'm 5 minutes into the video, and that 5 minutes covers the character shorts and then the first 3 chapters. And this took me 5.5 hours to do. I was working on this from midnight to 5 a.m. one day, and I'm gonna be working on it all day tomorrow. I really want this to be up by next week, to be completely honest. So I'm gonna try to work on it all weekend. Like, after my reaction is up, I'll feel content with content being uploaded, and I'm gonna just bang this out for the weekend and not focus really on anything else until it's out and ready and done. And I love how it worked. I love it so far. I love the format that I went with. Shout out to Carto1989 for supplying the thumbnail. Really love how that looks too. And I'm also going to be doing the volumes 2, 3, and 4 reference and trivia video as well. I did the volume 1 reference and trivia video, but I did that back in 2016. That was a 17-minute video, and that video took me, I think, like almost 2 months to do, because I was also working a full-time job at that time, so my time was a lot less limiting. I mean, a lot, less, I guess I would say. It was more limited than it is now. So, if you guys haven't checked that out, I have the reference and trivia video for Volume 1, of all the references that I found throughout that volume. And I'm going to be doing it, like I said, for Volumes 2, 3, and 4 as well. But I decided, for the sake of relevance, I want to focus on the Volume 5 reference, since Volume 5 is ending now. So, this is the next big video that you guys can look forward to on the channel, and the kind of overall final send-off for the volume as a whole at this point. As of now, at this point, I'm going to try to relax in the next week after that last video goes up. I want to stream a lot more on Twitch. I need to get back to Breath of the Wild. They just announced the new God of War game, the release date, which comes out on the 20th of April, so I want to be able to stream and play that in the future, which that's a couple months away, but I kind of want to focus more on streaming on Twitch. I want to get back to doing the Halo streams with people, playing custom games, and, doing the campaign.
Hey, I love your reaction as well, was Anthony Knight's reactions. What if the relics have the souls of the original maidens causing the heartbeat?
That'd be terrifying. I don't know. There's not much I can really say on the relics because there's so little to no information given, other than the fact that they are important, and if someone gets their hands on all 4, they can change the world. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out this year, or it's supposed to come out this year. There's so many great games coming out, and I want to, I want to take streaming a lot more seriously, because I'm close to 7,000 followers on Twitch. I have over 100 subs on Twitch, and they've kind of been, I haven't really been, giving that platform the attention. Again, because RWBY is such a focus on the channel for me that I prioritized it more than anything. There's so many videos that I need to catch up on as well. I need to do it. I'm planning on doing a year in review, kind of looking back on 2017 and all the things that we accomplished on the channel. I have a shit ton of unboxings to go through. I've been getting packages ever since RWBY started, but I haven't been able to dedicate any time to doing them and editing those videos and getting them up. But now that RWBY's done, I'll be able to. What else? I have a Q&A series video that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to show you a thumbnail right now, so you guys can get excited, so I can finally make this video so people can finally just lay it to rest, so I never have to hear this question asked of me again. Hold on, let me find this, and then we will close out the stream. Let's see. Here it is. Okay. So, here's the thumbnail for a very anticipated video that a lot of people have been looking forward to for a very long time.
Calm down. We're not here for your money.
Let's see if I can find it.
You could do a live reaction on Twitch.
Do a live reaction? Wait, what? What happened? You could do a live reaction on Twitch? Like, of what? Twitch, I usually play video games. Give me 1 second. I need to find this bad Larry, just so I can... Here it is. Oh my god. This is it. You guys are getting the number one question that I get asked on my channel. The number one question: where did my gamer tag come from? And if you look at the art given, that is a little reference, and kind of like that. Like if you look at it, it's Naruto and BioShock. That is the TLDR. That's where my gamer tag comes from. But there's a longer lineage. There's a longer story behind where my gamer tag comes from that goes all the way back, even before like as early as Xbox. It really kind of originates during Xbox, but there's a long story. And as you guys know, I am Ramble of Birds to a lot of you, so I kind of feel like I have to give you guys the full, in-depth, thorough explanation just so there's no more questions. I get that question asked more than any, like since I created my channel, it's like, where'd your account come from? Like, where's your username come from? And it sucks to kind of give the example over and over. So if anyone ever asks me that in the future, I'll just direct them to that video and I'll just be like, there you go, just take it and get out of my face. But yeah, so wow, Arnold, great moves, keep it up, proud of you. Have you heard of the RTX ambassador program? Would you want to take part in that? Bernie tweeted about that. I actually never knew about, but I don't know really what it is or what it means. And it's RTX ambassador, so does that, I'm assuming that has to do with the convention. I'd like to be a part of it if I knew more about it, but like I said, I just saw Bernie tweet about it, so I don't really know. I'm not really informed on, I know what an ambassador is. It's kind of like you represent, you know, such and such a, like, you're like an affiliate to a company or an affiliate to a brand, and, you're kind of like the link between them and their audience, so to speak. So yeah, I mean, that'd be kind of cool, but like I said, I'm not necessarily informed, so I do have to do a bit of research on that. Been watching you since Volume 3, love your videos. Oh, would you ever play Doki Doki Literature Club? Unfortunately not. First off, I'm not really big into graphic, what is it called? Visual novels? Yeah, I'm not a big fan of visual novels. It's literally like a reading simulator, number one. And number two, I already watched my friend Aaron stream that game. Very psychedelic, very trippy. Very deep and dark. But it wasn't as crazy, personally, it wasn't as crazy to me as people were making it out to be. Very creative and original in the sense of like the immersion that game has, especially if you're not expecting it, and especially if you play it like blind and you don't listen to what anyone else says. Very trippy game for sure. But no, I do not plan on playing Doki Doki, unfortunately. It speaks volumes to have seasons like Volume 5 where it felt weak, but still made me enjoy it. Like I said, I can understand where a lot of people felt like this volume fell short. And I also expressed those same concerns as we did these discussions week to week. I felt like the pacing was off during the start. It picked up during Chapter 10, and I feel like a lot of people are willing to forgive the first 10 chapters because chapters 10 through 14 were just so like, it was, I don't know, it just was like non-stop craziness. And it was pretty much what a lot of people were hoping for, that they felt dragged on too much during the first few chapters. Like, I would say after Chapter 2 or Chapter 3, that's where things started to feel like they were dragging, mainly with the menagerie arc. So it got a lot better as time went on, and I was never worried that wouldn't be the case. I was just always of the fact of like, it's a matter of when versus if. Like, I didn't think it, like, I wasn't questioning, oh, I wonder if they're gonna do it. It was more like, when are things gonna amp up? But of course, everyone's different. I feel like I'm an anomaly in that case too. Like, I forgive and I'm willing to overlook a lot of things too because I enjoy the show a lot. But then again, that's why I don't classify myself as a critic. I don't speak with any level of authority when I talk about this show. Like, when I say something is good in this show, I don't mean that objectively. I mean that subjectively. Like, I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for other people. Even if people want to take my opinion and value that and even if people want to value my opinion or value my, you know, what I have to say about the show, ultimately my words are my own, my thoughts and feelings are my own, and I just know that everyone doesn't feel the same about the show, which I'm fine with, and I can understand how they feel about it as well. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have reached the end of the road, for now, for RWBY Volume 5. Again, I kind of want to express to the nth degree, as much as I can, that I am very, 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 very grateful and very thankful that you guys have stayed tuned, who have made Volume 5 just as enjoyable for me as I've made it for you, right? Like, I have other people to talk to about it on a weekly basis, every week. It's a routine. It's something that we all look forward to. Whether you are, kicking this up, whether you're listening to this while doing homework or doing chores or working your desk job, or, you have nothing better to do during the week, or whatever the case might be, I especially since I started these last year and I didn't know how they were going to pan out, and they panned out really well last year. This year, I actually realized that Thursday is kind of like Thursday is more of the, I guess, like the sweet spot of the week. Like, more people tuned in during the last 3 weeks that I hosted these on Thursday than I did on Tuesday. So I think Thursdays, I'm going to shift to Thursdays now for future volumes as well. But I loved doing these. They're, like I said, it's a lot of work, but it's a labor of love that I enjoy doing. Especially since I know that a lot of people out there look forward to these on a weekly basis, live in the moment, and even thousands of people tune in and check these out once they're uploaded to the channel when they're able to watch it during their own time. These go on for hours. Like, this is 3 hours and 45 minutes, and I'm just surprised I'm shocked that a lot of people enjoy these on a week-to-week basis. For myself, I want to do things a little different next year, which, if I am to do that, I'm going to have to, like, tap into better software or, something else, because, I kind of want to have guests on in the future, but I would have to work in, like, an overlay and have a webcam for me and a webcam for them, and I want to, like, feature and have other people in the fandom on here, like Semblance of Sanity and Puns of Damage and Portal 64 and That Kaito Dan and Eruption Fang and Jake One Man Band, and, like, all of these people in the community that I love and I watch their videos, and we're all part of the same thing. We're all doing the same thing. We're all, sharing and expressing ourselves of the show in different ways, whether it's reactions, reviews, discussions, theory videos, streams, whatever the case might be. So I Flint of Dom, I mean, you may I didn't categorize you in that because, I mean, the people that I mentioned, they at least do reactions, reviews, or theories, so no hard feelings, bud. No, Dom didn't get ignored. I have Dom in my featured channels list on the side of my channel, all right? I love Dom, right? And I love the videos that he does. So, I represent Dom plenty. But no, I kind of want to find a way to be more inclusive of other people, or be more a part of other people's, what other people do. You guys will not believe, I mean, or maybe you would. I get asked so many times to be on other people's podcasts. Like, other people in the fandom do these things too. They do, like, their own weekly podcasts. Like Portal 64 has Vitalcast, and She Noob has the Boopcast. And I've gotten asked a lot by a lot of different people to be like, hey, we would love to have you. Fat Man Falling also has, like, his own thing that he does for discussions. I've been asked to be on those. I've been asked to be on so many different projects and things that other people are doing. But I build up so much ambition for myself that I don't have any room in my schedule to really lend myself to other people and, what other people are doing. Like, for example, right, like, I do the reactions on the weekends. I do the Discord discussions on weekends for my Patreon backers and my Twitch backers. And then during the week, I screen cap the episode. I put it into OBS. I do my long hourly discussions like these. And then I was doing script work and
revising, editing,
and stuff like that for the reviews.
Hey Arnold, salutations from
Oh, nice name. Fang Damonstein.
I was very disappointed they didn't visit Pierre's parents this season to pay their respects.
I feel like that's like a fandom thing. Like, the fandom built that moment up so much. Like, people wanted that so much that they expected it in the show. I wasn't one of those people. And on top of the fact we didn't get Team Sun or Team Arbor, to our knowledge, nobody lives in Haven, because we literally didn't see anybody in Haven. We only saw people in the slums and the 3D and the 2D sprites in the first episode. So, I mean, it was a missed opportunity. I definitely understand the missed opportunity of not exploring the city more, but I was not expecting anything in terms of, like, Pyrrha's family. But, you know, they're still there, and, you know, there's still time for them to be able to do something like that in the future. But yeah, so, like, ultimately, I just had so much on my plate that I wasn't able to really indulge in, you know, be able to be a part of what other people in the fandom were doing. And I didn't want anyone to feel like I was blowing them off, or that I felt like it was unimportant. It was just literally because, especially, people come to expect these now, and people enjoy them, and I don't want to feel like I'm letting anyone down by not doing a discussion a week or something like that, especially since I like doing them. Like, I don't lose anything out by not doing a discussion. It's more so people who look to these every week for, you know, chatting with people in the chat, or hearing my thoughts, or, you know, leaving support, you know, that's lost on them if I choose not to do it. So I don't know. I feel too compelled to satisfy and make other people happy to really kind of branch out and do other things in that regard. But overall, like I said, I really do hope. I really do. Yeah, I mentioned semblance to Sandy. I do hope I'm able to branch out and do something different.
Hey Arnold, what do you think will happen to Ozpin when Salem is defeated? Will the gods that cursed him decide his job is done and can move on? Or will he stay with Oscar, and when Oscar passes, Ozpin does as well?
No thoughts. I really don't have thoughts on that. I mean, I mentioned it at the beginning, but I assume that if Ozpin defeats Salem, which was the whole purpose of cursing him, then the curse would be lifted and he would be able to pass on. But Oscar being a part of Ozpin's same destiny and their souls being combined and all that stuff, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like Oscar's situation might be just as morbid as Ozpin's by the end of it. Oh yeah, Jerry, I'm ending the stream pretty soon. I'm ending the stream like any minute now. So, yeah. What do you think of the RWBY fanfic? By the way, thank you so much for the streams and discussions. Came for RWBY, stayed for you. Ian Joshua, thank you so much, dude. I'm not a fan of fanfics. I think I'm too embedded in the canon to really express or think of anything beyond that, right? That's just me. That's just me personally. I've never been a fanfic person. I understand and I respect, and I don't have anything against them. And if, that's people's way of expression for how they love the show and, adding on to that universe in their own way, then, it supports the community and it breathes life into the community in a new way. So I can't be upset with that. It's just a personal thing for me. I'm just not into it. But anyways, yeah, I said I was leaving 10 minutes ago and I'm still here. But yeah, I'm going to be heading out for the night. I got to have dinner. I'm going to just kind of piece together everything now for the future. I can finally lay RWBY Volume 5 to bed. This weekend will be the finale reaction to my discussion. I think it's about like a 40-minute reaction because I had a bit to say at the beginning and the end of the live stream. I'm sorry, of the reaction. And so you guys will be getting that. I got to edit that tomorrow, actually. And over the next week, I'm going to be taking a little bit of a break. I'm going to be working on that reference and trivia video. So that will probably be the next big video that comes out on the channel before I get back into RWBY Chibi or, anything else like that. I'm also going to be taking a little bit of a break when it comes to, like, going and hanging out with my friends and not just getting away from my computer, getting away from streaming and editing and uploading. I just want like a week to just be a bum and do nothing but play video games and watch streams for myself. But again, thank you guys so very much for your support. I love every single one of you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in every week, for being awesome, for leaving your support, for subscribing, for enjoying the content. We also surpassed 55,000 subscribers this past week, which was just as insane for the support that has happened in the last few months with RWBY. But I'm just taking a little bit of a break now, and then we're going to be coming back full blast. I'm going to be getting back to RWBY. I'm going to be getting back to Twitch streaming, so be sure to follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/MurderofBirds. The link for that is in the description if you want to check out what games I'm playing and whatnot. But I'm not going to say goodbye. I'm just going to say I'll see you guys later, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys really soon. Take care.